Hello and welcome to our live stream here on a daily face-off of the women's gold medal game between the United States of America and Canada on DFO. We are a presentation of Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Irfaan Gaffar here in Vancouver. Madison Packer is with me as well. Ann-Sophie Bettez will be joining a little bit later on. For the seventh time in the last 8 Olympic Games, it will be these two nations facing off against one another for the gold medal. Canada looking to keep its status as Olympic champions. Meanwhile, the United States of America, who has dominated Canada, winning the last 7 games, are hoping to add a gold medal to its collection. Happy to be joined by Madison Packer along for this ride. And so Bettez will be joining us in just a few moments. A ton of storylines heading into this game. Madison, obviously, you've played in some pretty big games in your career. What are these final 10 minutes like before puck drop? The coaching staff, the players, what's that room like before they hit on the ice for a gold medal?
It's a little bit of mix of nerves, some anxiety probably. I think a lot of these players are just excited, honestly. This is the outcome that they've wanted, the matchup that they've all had circled on the board for a while. So at this point, the X's and O's are kind of out the window. The hay is in the barn, if you will. They just get to go out and have some fun. Everyone's fired up, the preparation. This is all a moment that a lot of these girls have dreamed about for a long time.
You know, when you look at it from an American standpoint, the way that they've gone and cruised through this tournament. So do you have that quiet confidence, or are you able to, flex a little bit that you only have allowed 1 goal in the last 16 periods, that no one's come close to you in each and every one of these games, that you go in it with the confidence that this is your game to lose, but do you know in the back of your minds that Canada, still with Marie-Philip Poulin, they're still the defending Olympic gold medalists until they aren't?
Yeah, I think that you're cautiously optimistic. I think that both teams know that, kind of everything to this point has just been a preparation for what's to come, right? And so I think that while it's nice to get the confidence and you've won some games, it's not a 2-game series, a 3-game series, Stanley Cup final 7-game series. It's 1 game and done. And so these players know that a lot of these players have been really close and walked away with nothing. So I think that enough of these players have been in moments like this to know that they can't take anything for granted. They can't overlook anything. And while everything that's gone well has gone well so far, that doesn't necessarily matter. Today is a whole new story.
Captain Hilary Knight, obviously, she said that this will be her last Olympics, going up against the captain of Marie-Philip Poulin of Canada, who, don't know what the future holds for her. But these two began their careers in 2010, the Olympics way back then, and obviously have had outstanding careers. Obviously, Hilary Knight with the Americans and Marie-Philip Poulin with the Canadians. When you look at both of their legacies, I guess we'll start with Hilary Knight. What will you remember from her?
I think there's so much. I mean, that's just such a robust question,
Yeah.
and everything that she's done, obviously, to help pave the way on the professional side of the game. She's been an ambassador for the game. She's from Idaho, where the game is not huge. So she gives back a lot in her hometown and in her community. I think for her, just the ultimately walking out on top, she won't be satisfied with anything less. Obviously, the same is true of Poulin, but I think that this one means a little something extra. It's the first time that she's wearing the C on her jersey as long as she's been in the program. She just got engaged to her speed skating now fiance Brittany Bowe. So I think that a lot of things in her life are going well, and she sees things kind of coming to an end. So she knows that this is her last opportunity, and anyone that's played with or against her knows that when the ball's been in her court and the game's been in her hands, she tends to deliver. So hopefully that's the case for her tonight.
Lots of different storylines on the ice, off the ice for both nations in this game. But let's start with strictly on the ice. What's one of the matchup or matchups that you're looking to or looking forward to the most in this one?
I think that Heisey, Murphy, well, depending who's on that line, right? But
Yeah.
Heisey and Murphy, Bilka, Curl, some combination of that. Just seeing who they're going to match up against. I'd like to see them matched up against Poulin's line. I think that's going to be good, physical, fast, creative hockey. I think that that'll give the U.S. the best opportunity to be successful. I think that that's going to give Canada the hardest time. Those players don't want to get knocked around. We already know that Poulin is banged up a little bit. So I'm excited to see that younger line go to work. They've been successful all tournament long, but like I said before, this is really the game when it matters. So I'm kind of looking to these young players to see how they rise to the occasion tonight.
One of the young players that obviously got a lot of attention in the last game, Abby Murphy, and she has been getting a lot of attention throughout this entire tournament, drew 3 penalties. Canada took 5 in that game against the Americans when they were shut out. And I mean, she's just a player that seems to just get under your skin just a little bit and be able to, wreak havoc wherever she goes on the ice.
Yeah, I do have to say I was watching the Canadian broadcast when I was up in Quebec, so I got to listen to Cassie Campbell-Pascall, who I always enjoy listening to her perspective. I think she calls it pretty fair and narrow, and she pointed out that Murphy leaves her feet awfully easily. I think that that's probably a fair assessment. So I hope that the refs will tighten that up. I think that the physicality, the aggressiveness, the strength that these women bring to the game is important. So I think that you can leave the theatrics at home tonight. I hope that, if we start to see a little bit of it, that there's a conversation with her. I'm of the opinion that it can't be both a penalty and embellishment, right? Like if
Yeah.
someone dives, then it shouldn't have really been a penalty. So I hope that we see some conversation from the refs if Murphy starts to go down a little easy, because it really should just be, a fair, physical, fast game tonight.
We welcome in Ann-Sophie Bettez, and thank you so much for doing this. Excited to have you back as we continue Quest for Gold. And yeah, the quest is here. 1 game left. You look at it's Canada and it's US yet again here for Olympic gold. I asked Madison about it. What are the final moments like? You guys have both played in big games. There's a few minutes to puck drop right now. So what are these final moments like? Take me into that Canada locker room right now.
Well, I think for Canada, and it's a mix of desperation and excitement, and as we mentioned, it's a 1 game, so it's not a NHL best out of 7. It's 1 game, anything can happen. So I think for Canada, it'll be a lot of combining all the desperation that has happened over the last couple months. Even though, like we know in the rivalry series, it hasn't been easy, especially against the U.S. in the preliminary round. Even that last final game in the semifinals against the Switzerland, like Canada, it wasn't an easy game for them. So they know it's not going to be easy, but I think it's a mix of excitement. Maybe some of them is going to be their last Olympics. So for the younger girls, play a little harder for, if Poulin is going to be our last one, I don't know. Will she be back for a 6? Who knows? Anything's possible with that girl. But I think it's going to be it's just, I guess, enjoying the moment and reminding yourself that it's a privilege to be able to wear that maple leaf.
When you look at it from Canada, you obviously lost the last game you played against the Americans. You know what the Americans have been about so far in these Olympic Games and even in your meetings before. So for you, as the Canadians going into this one, what are you looking for their key to success here?
For the U.S.?
For Canada.
For Canada, well, to score a bit more goals.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be key. Trying to get inside their defense. They were sometimes in the ozone, but I feel like most of the time they weren't able to create great scoring chances, or they have a good goalie, so it's going to be a matter of putting pucks on net and trying to get some traffic, getting under the U.S.'s skin. And we saw against Italy when that performance happened, they didn't expect them to be physical. We saw their head coach kind of going, or not, I'm not going to say losing it, but you could see some frustration, and you can sense that from the girls as well. So if Canada is able to get under the skins of the US and putting pucks on net, like going into traffic and not being afraid to dig deep, because it's not, I don't think it's going to be like the prettiest goal. If they do score, it's going to be a garbage goal, and they don't tell you how the goal was scored. It's just they remember the score. So I think it's going to be key to just kind of do the little things right, especially defensively. And we know everybody needs to step up. They haven't had their best performance in the preliminary rounds against the U.S., and I think that's a good sign. And when we break down that game, I remember saying, like, the first 2 periods, the Canada team had 10 shots, and then in the third period, they also had 10 shots. So if they're capable of finishing their or starting this game like they finished the last one, I think it's a better start. They'll have to play 60 minutes, so they have a lot of things to take into consideration. They have a lot of things to do. But one thing I know they will do is they will for sure play with their hearts. These girls are passionate, and that's one of the reasons why that they're there. So that's I'm looking for a high intense and emotion game.
Yeah, game just underway, about 20 seconds now into the first period. Again, the gold medal game between Canada and the United States of America. It's funny, we had, Jacob, I don't know if you can pull that comment up from one of our listeners in the YouTube chat again. He said, it's a bit cliche. Jeffrey, thank you for this. A bit cliche, but it's one game. A hot goalie or someone having the game of their life can win it, or anything can happen. And I think for both of these teams, you look at both their goaltenders, and we'll start with Canada and Anne-Renee Debian. She can definitely steal a game for this team.
For sure. I mean, if we look at her performance in the PWHL, she hasn't allowed more than 2 goals against their opponent. Now, I know that the US is another powerhouse. It's not the PWHL. It's the elite of the elite that you can get. And if we look at the past games, she's been pulled. But Anne-Renee is so strong. She's confident regardless of what happened. And she's the one who can save the game. And now, all that being said, Canada has to be able to put some pucks in the net on the other side, because she won't be able to do that. I mean, sometimes goalie can score, but I'm not sure it's going to happen today.
Yeah,
so Anne-Renee is so strong. She's calm and confident, and I think that she is one of the best player to be in the goaltender for Canada for this game.
Couple minutes gone. Shots 1-0 for the Americans. And again, you look at the way that this game is kind of going to go. It is so tight. The round robin game, you knew you were going to move on from that one. That wasn't the be all end all. So do you feel like this one might have a little bit more of a feeling out process, a little bit more than weathering the storm each way for the first 10 minutes for each team?
Yeah, and I think especially like if we're looking at to Canada, I feel that they were still searching of who are we going to pair up with Poulin, and they were still doing some changes, and I think now they've found their good recipe with their Watts and Fillier. They are so powerful. So on the American side, if they're able to shut down that line, I mean, they're gonna have a lot of success, because we haven't seen that much scoring from other people, but they could be detrimental. So now that I feel that there's been more stability in the lineup, I think it's going to be helpful for Canada, because sometimes it's not easy as a player when you're being like tossed left and right and trying to find the best chemistry, and it's hard because as a player you want some stability, and now I think they've found that. And we've mentioned throughout all these segments where you have to peak at the right moment, and I think for Canada, like, this is their last chance, and it's a one game and everything's possible. So I'm trying to see like the positive. Obviously, if we look at just the two teams going head to head, obviously the US they have an advantage, but sometimes when you're the underdog, you could surprise, and a miracle story can happen again.
Yeah, we've watched all of these games, Canada and the Americans. We've done post-game shows, Quest for Gold here on Daily Faceoff. Do you feel that Canada has played its best hockey yet in this tournament?
No.
Okay.
And that's what is kind of making me a bit more secure, is that I haven't seen the best out of that team yet. And again, I think they were searching for that too. Like, they've been through a lot. I mean, not knowing what Poulin's status was going to be when they played, and it's a lot to lose just one player, but that player is the game changer of many big important games. And I said it last time, if Poulin wasn't there, like, maybe Switzerland would have been in the final, so it's just a matter of their emotion was like a roller coaster, and that's helpful, because you've seen the some good, you've seen a lot of the bad, so it's learning from those mistakes and making sure that you're at your best for this game, and it's going to be a great game. I don't think they're going to take it easy, and they will want to be good. So I think it's going to be the story today.
Yeah, no, and I think from your point there, especially you saying that Canada hasn't played its best hockey yet. Let me ask you this then, Anne. So, what does Canada's best hockey look like?
Well, it's a bit way more physical, way more competitive. That is able to go and take shots and fight and battles in front of the net. Like, I feel we haven't seen that. We haven't seen the fight and the grit that these players. Some people have showed it, but I haven't seen it from everybody. And that's what it's going to need a contribution from everyone because it's not going to be a 1 or 2 player thing. Facing the US, facing Switzerland, that was okay. It made it. Canada made it through. But against the US, it won't be able to be only 1 or 2 player. It's going to have to be the whole team. So being more physical, being greedy, being second quick on puck, the US is they're so fast. So you're going to have to narrow time and space. And I haven't seen that. I saw a team where they were just trying to defend themselves. Well, if you're trying to defend themselves, it's very hard to attack. So be more of on your toe mentality than on your heels.
And for USA, you look at it, Madison, from their point of view, you go in and you're up 3-0 in the shots. You know, it's probably a little bit of a feeling out process here in the first 5 to 10 minutes, but you know that this Canada team you're playing right now is completely different from the one that you just played and beat a few days ago, don't you?
Yeah, I think for sure. I agree with Ann. So I don't think that they've played their best hockey. And remember the history here too, right? The rivalry series, everything leading up to this point. Like this is a Canadian team that's been getting their teeth kicked in for a while. And so you've got a lot of players with a lot of experience on this team who have a lot of pride. And a number of them are considering this is probably their last or is it? So I think that you're gonna get their very best. And I think for the US, they just need to again weather the storm because it's not something that they've seen to this point.
Still 0-0. Marie-Philip Poulin just rung one off the goaltender there. Makes a great save. Marie-Philip Poulin, you know, she had some interesting comments before the game, being very happy about, you know, being able to play and appreciating the opportunity and, you know, saying that basically everyone's kind of counting us out. And both of you mentioned, we haven't played our best. So, Ann-So, when you look at it, you've played with Marie-Philip Poulin as a leader. What do you think her message was? And do you think it was over the top and it was one of those things? Or is she more of the very much so quiet leader and I'm going to go on the ice and do my talk and let my play do the talking?
Well, I think she's evolved over the last 5 Olympics as a leader. I mean, she started at 18 years old and she was kind of like the quiet one and was going to be a leader by showing by example. Now she has no choice and she's evolved into that leader of being more vocal. But I think she stayed calm, showed passion, and said like, okay, we got to play from our hearts and dig deep. Everything that you have left is what you need to get out today. And I think it was a very emotional speech because that's what's going to help them to drive that success or hopefully to have some more chances in today's game.
We mentioned players that, you know, we wanted to see and look out for. Nice save there by André Desbiens. Still 0-0 here, 3-2 in shots. About 6 minutes ago, almost 6 minutes gone in the first period between Canada and the U.S. We mentioned players that we were looking forward to have more and you want to see more from. I believe, Madison, you said you wanted to see more from Hilary Knight, just a little bit more from the captain of this team. And so I think yours was Sarah Nurse. Where do you think those contributions can come from if you're Sarah Nurse?
Well, defensively, being better in your defensive zone, and offensively, when she was paired up with Watts and Fillier, I thought they were doing a good job of creating some momentum and creating some energy in the ozone, but they were not able to capitalize. And that's what I'd like to see from her, to score some goals or create some scoring chance with her new line now and creating depth because that we need that. You know, you can't just have one line producing. So contribution offensively and tighter defensively.
Too many men penalty for the United States of America. Canada going to the power play. Abby Murphy serving the penalty for the United States. They get a clearing attempt. And yeah, Madison, you mentioned Hilary Knight. Obviously the captain of this team. We talked about it. You know, everything's going really, really well. What do you want to see from her on the ice in this one?
I think she's just got to shoot the puck a little bit more. I mean, obviously she's been quiet, maybe the monkey on her back with the chasing the goal record. I don't know, but you know, we talked about Poulin. Poulin and Knight are very similar in their history and their ability to contribute. I mean, I think about Poulin I played against her when we were kids, all the way back when she was at Dawson College. Like, just her ability to change a game. Knight is that same player and has been for Team USA. And I think that maybe she's gotten a little comfortable and quiet, as well as Carpenter, just with these young players contributing as much as they have. But I think today is a game where they're going to really need and rely heavily upon their veteran leadership and, leading by example and leading with your actions and with positivity versus, panic and an iron fist, if you will.
Yeah, Canada looking decent on the power play, though, getting a couple shots now, 4-3 shots now, still favor the U.S. 7 minutes gone in the first period here, still 0-0 in the gold medal game between these two teams. You take the first penalty of the game for the United States, and it's a penalty where you think, Madison, there might have been a little bit of nerves. So too many men penalties are one of those things where maybe players getting a little bit too excited as opposed to, you see the actual penalties where it's a trip or hold or a high sticking or anything like that.
Yeah, I didn't see it, so I don't know if it was someone jumping the gun or confusion on the bench. But yeah, to your point, that's typically like a lazy lack of communication, uncharacteristic penalty, something that you don't want to take in first 10 minutes of the gold medal game. But I don't know what happened there. But like I said, I didn't see where the too many players occurred, if it was miscommunication or just not paying attention. But either way, something they got to figure out.
Well, and so the first power play, we went to work, looked good, 4 shots. That's something you need to see more of here from Canada as we go through and hit the first commercial break here. Well, I think you're muted, Anso.
Oh,
sorry, I was coughing earlier, so I didn't want to create that chaos. But yeah, like I think what's going to happen is you're not going to get that many chances, and I think you're going to have to make sure that when you do have great chances or power play, then to try to get momentum, because a power play could be detrimental on both sides if you're not scoring or if the PK is generating more, blocking shots, and sometimes it could be helpful for the team that got the penalty. So these are all little details that Canada will need to make sure that on the power play, if they do have more chances, to be able to make it count. And a penalty with too many men on the ice, well, that would have been a good time to make them pay, right? But if they're able to get more shots, and that's a good sign. They put some shots. There was some traffic in front of the net, and I think that's a good start for the Canadian team.
Marie-Philip Poulin, obviously we get up here in Canada, we get the Canadian feed, so a lot of focus, and rightfully so, is on the captain. Excited to play, but one of the things that I saw that was crazy, a stat, 7 goals in gold medal games, Marie-Philip Poulin. Like, Captain Clutch, there are people that have nicknames in sports, Madison, but Captain Clutch, it might be the most fitting, whether it's male or female, that is Marie-Philip Poulin.
Yeah, no, like we talk about like excellence in sport and what separates good from great and then like great from the GOATs. And it's just your ability to deliver under pressure like that. And it's a gift. It's a collective effort within yourself to be able to perform under that pressure, because a lot of people can't. I mean, it's incredible. And she's done it her whole career. So I think that's, I liked her interview. I think that you've got other players on that roster, right? We've talked all tournament. I'm like, yeah, the U.S. is just an absolute militia. However, Canada hasn't really figured it out, and they've got the greatest like clutch performer in all of sports in all time. I think honestly, we can make that claim. Coupled with Turnbull hasn't really turned it on yet. Nurse has been quiet. Spooner hasn't gotten many minutes. I mean, like they have all these players who know how to be successful at every level, and they can be. So I think that they're the more dangerous team right now because they're also the underdog. And that's what, like, going back to we talked about before, the U.S. needs to maintain that underdog mentality because there's something to be said for that. And so I think that it gives Canada the ability to play with some freedom.
How hard is it to maintain that underdog mentality, though, when you've been rolling through teams like the way the U.S. has?
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, what was the closest game? They're absolutely annihilating teams. And then you find yourself in the gold medal game and you're in unfamiliar territory for the first time.
And so how much of a benefit can that work for you if you're Canada? You have a team that's, I don't want to say overly confident, because I think the job is the job and they want to go get that gold medal. Obviously a quiet confidence going into this one, but is there that maybe a little, if you're Canada and you can plant a seed of doubt in the US's mind, how big of a thing, how big of an advantage would that be?
Well, it's huge because over the last 7-8 games, they weren't able to do that. So I think if they're able to get that first goal, maybe the U.S. will be on their heels and be like, oh, well, we haven't. Do we know what it's like to play with, when you're down 1-0, when you're down, if ever, 2-0? They haven't played all that much in their defensive zone. So if they're able to, create that, we haven't seen all that much, the US in their D zone, and so creating that doubt would be huge, because that's what you want. Because when doubts like is in your head, then you start thinking differently, you start playing differently. But again, I think that's the strength of a team, and making sure that the leaders get up, the coaches are able to calm the team if ever the case happens.
Well, I'll tell you both right now, this is almost 10 minutes gone in the first period of this game. This might be the best Canada's looked so far. They don't look like a team that's hesitant. They look like a team that's kind of taking the game to the Americans. And from the United States, Madison, they haven't had a team do that to them, or at least for a consistent period of time. I know they got scored on once and kind of went a little bit backwards for them in that game against Czechia, but beyond that, there's been no one that's come close to them.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were talking about before. Like, you're in unfamiliar territory for the first time in the most important game. And a lot of these players also play at universities at home where they're used to, taking it to teams. So you'd like to think at some point that and they all do, right? I'm being overly critical. Like, they've all played in games that are close and big important games, but it's just, this is a completely different stage and opportunity, right? There's an Olympic gold medal on the line. So I would like to think that there was some conversation with the team about that composure and just kind of, I keep using the term weather the storm, but that's just kind of what you say. Like, you just have to, when things get chaotic and start to go wild, just go back to the basic principles of the game. And as long as you don't give anything up, right, you can kind of collect yourself, whether it's at a timeout or a between or intermission, and again, lean on some of that veteran leadership. They also
And
look a
then,
little bit slow, in
yeah,
my
I
opinion.
was gonna say your initial thoughts, the first 10 minutes here have gone past 0-0, shots 4-4. We'll start with you, Ann. So what have you liked from Canada so far?
Well, I haven't seen them play, I'm going to say, this good since the beginning of the tournament. And it's nice to see. And I said, if they can carry that last period that they played against the U.S., they had 10 shots. Now they're already four shots. Yes, there was a power play, but they move the puck well. They put it deep. They don't commit. And I feel like they have a one pressure that is really hard. And we kind of make sure we close up the middle. And the U.S. is having a hard time kind of going inside, and I think Canada has had one of the greatest start in this against the U.S. now.
You mentioned slow, Madison. In what parts of their game do you think so, or do you just think it's collectively really everything a little bit of a slower start here?
They just don't seem to have that same like jump that they've had before, and then their passes aren't connecting, kind of in the same way that we saw Canada disconnected in that semifinal game, I think. But they don't seem to have the same pop that they've had the last few games.
8 minutes to go. Still 0-0. Canada applying tons of pressure. And I mean that had to have been the mindset and the message from the coaching staff and players to the Canadian roster going on the ice. And so is, all right, well, we're only getting one chance at this. There isn't a redo. There isn't, something that can be done after this. This is our one chance at a gold medal. We know we haven't played our best. So let's go out and give it our all. And they're throwing everything and more at the United States right now.
Yeah, and they're doing a good job of putting the puck behind the defense and putting pressure. Like before, I feel like we would put pucks behind, but the U.S. would capture the puck. Now, like their neutral zone forecheck is, they stop a lot of the offense that is trying to be created by the U.S. The U.S. have no choice to dump the puck and run after the puck, and the Canada is way better at getting the puck out of their zone, in control, and trying to get the puck on net.
It's one of those things that you've mentioned before, getting the puck below the goal line. And we haven't seen Canada do that a lot this tournament. And when they do, and so they seem to have a lot of success.
Yeah, because now they put pressure and they're able to get on the puck. As I said, like before, they would dump the puck, but the U.S. would grab the puck and right away go get a breakout, a clear breakout, and sometimes a good scoring chance. So now it's like we put the puck, but we apply a lot of pressure, and I feel that the D's of the U.S. haven't felt that pressure, and you know, like now they're all over. Like Canada's, it seems like the U.S. is a little lost in their zone sometimes.
And what do you attribute that to a little bit? The pressure that you didn't think, Madison, that you were going to get? Because you had to know that Canada was going to come out flying in this one, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just it happens, right? Like, I mean, I can think of times in my career when you go into a game and you're all hyped up and you think you're prepared, and then you're like, oh my goodness, like what is happening right now? I can't believe. And you just have to get back to the locker room, or like I said, maybe when we're coming up on a timeout, like take a break and just breathe and say, okay, guys, like we all know that we're qualified, that we're good enough. It's not that. It's not like we can't panic, because the minute you start panicking and thinking that, well, did I not prepare right, or is it because I didn't eat, so many bites of, like, you start going through your routine and thinking like, did I do something, like you just can't start to do that. And so I think that things have gone so well for them to this point that there hasn't been enough controversy. Like I said, I liked how they, responded when Sweden gave a little bit of a push, but outside of that, in a game that ended 5-0, I mean, how much adversity have you really faced? So if I'm them, I'm not really worried. I hope that the coaches are prepared to step up, maybe take a load off of their vocal leadership in the locker room from a player perspective, and let the coaches kind of do their job for a little bit, which is maybe the first time this group has had to have that happen.
Let me say this. This is 10 minutes, just over 10 minutes to a gold medal hockey. We're going to pick through everything in this game. So whether it's good or bad or ugly, we're going to go through a lot of stuff in this hockey game. Yes, we might be overanalyzing, but it's just something we're going to have to do. It's going to be a long show as we go through this one in the gold medal game between Canada and the United States of America. Shots 5-4 Canada with 6:30, just under 6:30 remaining in the first period. USA was favored in this hockey game. We're showing a stat of Marie-Philip Poulin right now. 4 games played, 3 goals, 1 assist, 16 shots on goal, albeit all being at about 60, 75, maybe 80%. And so from your captain, Marie-Philip Poulin, and your leader, we talked about her presence both in the locker room and on the ice. But when she's playing, and if she's maybe at 90% right now, there may be few players that are better than her.
Yeah, I mean, she plays through pain. I don't know what they did to help ease her pain, but regardless, is she has the heart and the dedication, and sometimes that adrenaline, the desperation, can overcome so many things in terms of pain. But she is so good at what she does, and that's why we talk about her being so clutch in games like this, and but I think it's gonna have to come from everybody, as I mentioned, because yes, she can do great stuff, but now she's not 100%, so she'll need the help of her teammates, and I think that's the strength of a team. And the way that I've seen Canada play this first period so far, everybody seems to be on that same page, and they're on.
It's always funny when you talk about the importance of the first goal in this game, or really any big game, and you have to be the team that gets it. You have to, can't be a team that has facing adversity. And Madison, right now, when you look at it from the American point of view, yeah, you've touched on it there, that they haven't really faced much adversity, but the way that this team is going, I think we're going to get a penalty here right now on Canada. I believe, nope, maybe not. All right, well, I'm gonna have to wait and see what happens here. Yeah, first goal is gonna be huge. General soreness in our chat is saying that, but the importance of not getting behind early in a game of this magnitude, Madison, is kind of my point that I was getting at.
Yeah, I think it gives you a ton of confidence. I mean, it just maybe alleviates a little bit of pressure, lets you feel like, okay, we've got this. We're in the driver's seat. I always like to be the team that scores first, just because, again, from a pressure perspective, it feels nice to get that opening confidence.
Couple extra TV timeouts, obviously, because it is the gold medal game. And so when it comes to a player's perspective, you're used to maybe the two if your games are televised, but this one you're probably getting 3 timeouts, nationally televised game, obviously. Um, Extra time to catch your breath, extra time for coaches to get the message across, and extra time just to look at strategy in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, for Canada's side, like I saw Caroline Ouellet clapping hands like before that timeout, not this one, the one before, and you could see that she's satisfied with the way the defense are playing. And for the U.S., well, as Madison said, it's maybe a good time to settle down and to talk to your group and to make sure you don't panic, even though it's a tight game. You maybe didn't have the start that you wanted, but these timeouts are they're beneficial for both teams. I think for Canada, the less would be better. For the U.S., maybe it's a better thing to just kind of stop their momentum or their rhythm because they seem to be on in that first period.
Play resumes now. 5 minutes to go in the first period. Shot 6-5 for Canada, who have, looked the part. They've looked the part of a team that is supposed to be here in these games right now against the United States of America. And you're going to get a tripping penalty now, an offensive zone tripping penalty on the United States. That's a tough one to take, Madison, if you're the Americans right now.
Bad call. Someone paid off the refs.
Let's take a look at it.
I didn't see it, honestly. Behind the net, was it?
Yeah, behind the net.
Oh yeah, I just saw. Oh, you guys are ahead of me.
A little bit behind the net. Comes around. Dune off for tripping. All right, Canada back to the power play, though, and this one, you look dangerous on the first one, but you hope that you're able to cash in here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bad penalty to take in the ozone, and a little trip. Like that's 2 bad penalties for the U.S. So if you're Canada, you want to make sure you make them pay. And you can just it shouldn't be a walk in the park. So to hope in hoping that they continue what they showcase in that first power play.
Madison, was that a penalty?
Oh, yeah, boy. I did see that. I thought you when you said before, and then there was the timeout. I thought we were coming out of the timeout to a penalty.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And I was like half a second behind you on the.
It was a good call. Yeah. It was a tripping call.
Yes, that was absolutely a penalty.
There we go. Minute gone, almost in the power play here for Canada. Moving the puck well. U.S. almost had a shorthanded breakaway. Canada was able to get back and stop it there.
Interesting. We haven't really seen Spooner much, but she's out there on the power play.
She's usually in that front.
Parked in front, yeah.
I mean, that's got to be tough for her too. Like if you're not playing much in the game and you're there, but your job is just power play or special teams. I mean, how tough is that a player if that's really one of the only things that you're doing out there?
Yeah, especially if they don't come off in the power play, it's tough to stay involved. I mean, her job is to. She said it. She's like, I'm willing to do anything, at this point, and she's so good at it, being that front, and she's tall, she's strong on her stick, and we've seen many goals that she scored from there. So, and Frankel is doing an actual a really good job on this in this game.
Yeah, power play over for Canada. 2:30 to go in this first period. Still scoreless. Couple shots for Canada on that power play. So now lead in that margin. Yeah, it just looks like a very, very different U.S. team, Madison, to your point. Like a little bit discombobulated here to start this hockey game.
Yeah, they're also, I've noticed if the line pairings are a little bit switched, which I wonder Are they dealing with injury or illness or right? Because we go back to Finland's entire team was sick. You have to assume that some of that has worked its way through the Olympic Village, but they look tired and they don't look like they're as cohesive as they've been. Frankel looks good though.
Yeah.
$90 to go here in the opening frame. Shots 8-6, scoreless. Canada USA gold medal game. Our stream here on Daily Faceoff, Quest for Gold, with Ann-Sophie Bettez and Madison Packer.
I got a fun USA Canada fact for you, Anso.
Yeah.
I've never lost to Canada.
Really?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that is an interesting fact.
Send that to Poulin with my skating review.
How many now, and how many games is that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Not as many as Poulin.
Madison, did you ever lose at all while representing the U.S.?
No.
I mean, I figured if you didn't lose to Canada.
Win.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Never. My exposure was limited.
Still a pretty good thing to tip your cat on. You've never lost to Canada.
I played in 2 or 3 series with 3 series against Canada, and then 2 U18 World Championship. But yeah, never lost.
It was a close call for a penalty.
Yeah, no, I think
Oh,
it is a penalty.
They have one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't call that?
Shelton off for hooking.
Yeah.
Ella Shelton hit me in training camp with the New York Sirens so hard. I actually thought that my soul left my body. I've never been hit so hard in my entire life. Grade 4 shoulder separation.
Wow.
First day of training camp.
Like, welcome.
All right, U.S. off to the power play here. Only a couple seconds left in the period. Oh. Redo the face-off. All right, first period done at the Winter Olympics in Milan. The gold medal game between Canada and the United States of America. Scoreless after 20 minutes. And I think when you look at it from a Canada point of view, and so that's about as good as a period that they have played so far. And if they can build on that, it could be a long night here for the Americans.
Yeah, I agree. They had a great start. I mean, U.S. had 2 bad penalties. Canada they weren't able to capitalize on it, but I really liked their effort, their energy, their desperation. They were, for that first 15 minutes, they were the better team. At the end, the U.S. started to get a little bit more of ozone time, which you can see that they were confident, familiar in that field. But Frankel did an amazing job of keeping the score. She made amazing saves, especially with one on Stacey where she kind of used the blocker to save that. But Canada needs to build on that period if they want to keep this game close. Now they're going to start the second period with a PK, but if they can just carry and continue with that energy, I think it's going to be a close game for the rest of this game.
Madison, your Robleski in the dressing room now. 0-0. Advantage you because you've got about a minute and 40 of power play time to work with to start the period. What's the message?
I think you just have to fire that group up a little bit. I started following the Wynn brothers on social media. It's funny, they posted a video the other day that was like Robleski after the first period after during the Sweden game or whatever, and like flips the table. It's like the replay of the miracle scene.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that game was quite as bad and dull as this start has been. So I think that they just need to find the energy. They've got a really good opportunity to start here on the power play. Obviously, their puck movement and their speed, that's what they're known for. So they just need to dial that in and fire that group up a little bit, show them clips of them moving the puck and buzzing and connecting with each other on the power play, and then get that top group out there and let them go to work. I think they just need to get a little bit of confidence and a little bit of jump. Right now, nothing is really going well for them, and so they're probably getting frustrated. They're gripping their sticks tight, maybe starting to panic a little bit mentally. So I think just remind them that they have all the tools that they need to be successful, and they're in a good position to start this next period.
Yeah, it's been an interesting way to look at it because when this tournament started, we sat here and we watched Canada play. We sat here and we watched USA play, and we said, wow, these two teams are miles apart. And obviously, as the tournament goes on, teams get better and things change. Injuries happen. Sickness is obviously a lot of things go into play. But when you look at it now, this is for the gold medal, and you have two teams that, one, don't like each other, two, have know a lot of each other, are going at it, and hopefully, this is what the fans wanted. They didn't want to blow out. I mean, maybe if you are the United States of America, you did, and it's fans. But for the Canadians, from your perspective, you're right in this hockey game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they wanted. And then, that's why I was kind of relieved to see that they didn't have their best game against the U.S. In the preliminary round. Well, that's a hard word to say. But in the round robin. But I think that they gather all the information. It seems like they've done a lot of video because they were playing very structured and something that I haven't seen before. Like when I look at their team and their neutral zone forecheck, they seem to be very composed and they're able to stop the US's rushes. And like if you can't create any scoring chances on rushes, then you have to set up in the O-zone, and which is the thing that the US hasn't done for the really first 15 minutes. So Canada's done a really good job, and I want to see a competitive game, and I want to see a game won by 1 or 2. Now, what scares me is that the U.S. is very good at scoring a goal and rapidly scoring a second goal, and that could be very tough on the minds. But now that it's still 0-0, then everything's possible. So I think the longer this game stays 0-0, the better for Canada.
Well, it's just that seed of doubt, right? And I think that once that gets planted in the heads, if it goes like this, or if it's scoreless, or it's tight heading into the third period, it's advantage Canada. But right now, if you're the Americans, you're in that room, you're saying, well, we are where we are because of how good we are. I mean, 16 scoreless periods, make it 17 now for the United States. They've got every tool to go and try and win this hockey game. It's just about trying to come together a little bit here.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny because the imbalance obviously is not as great as the 1980 Olympics, right? But the U.S. is the heavy favorite coming in a similar way that the Russians were. Now, the Canadians are not the U.S. full of like a band of misfits, right? But the U.S. is a heavy favorite, but the Canadians, you look at them, they have a ton of talent. They have a lot of heart. They have a lot of good stories in that locker room. I mean, I know the U.S. has Kendall Coyne-Schofield, but I wouldn't bet against Natalie Spooner and her story as a mom. So I just think that there's a lot of passion in that locker room. And when you talk about team sports at the Olympic Games, like the highest of heights, the biggest of pressures, like that's what the best team is about. It's not always about talent and skill, right? Like, yeah, sometimes the most skilled teams wins. However, this is going to be a test of who truly is the best team, because yeah, the U.S. is more talented on paper, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to win, as they have, and they've shown that. But this is like the kit and the caboodle. This is all of it. This is where the best team needs to show up, and that's a lot of heart. That's leadership. Like that's where truly the best will rise.
It's interesting you mentioned that, talent usually for the most part does beat heart, and heart, you never know what can happen. This is kind of it's not really David versus Goliath, because I don't think that Canada is, as bad as people think that they may have been throughout their tournament. But let's bring on someone here who knows a lot and has covered this game for a very long time. Good friend of mine, host of The Sheet, Mr. Jeff Merrick. Jeff, how are you, sir?
Well, enjoying that first period as a Canadian, just hearing the conversation too. I'm always curious about USA Hockey, who are always, and we see this on the men's side as well, very comfortable and certainly always more aggressive when they're in the underdog role. And maybe this might just be, the fumes of 1980, and you guys are talking about David and Goliath and all that. And hi, Madison, how are you? Ann-Sophie, salut, mon chum, hello, Irf. I'm always waiting for, and I thought it was going to be in this game, because we've seen this U.S. team, we saw it against Canada, grab teams by the foot, drag them into deep water and say, we're going to swim out here. Let's see how long you can swim with us or tread water out here in the deep. Like, that's what this U.S. team does. And we're all expecting that. And I think maybe, you two played, you can tell me whether I'm on base or off base here. It seemed like going into this one, given the discrepancy in talent between the two sides, the United States may have been thinking, we're going to a coronation. This is going to be us having our way with Canada. And listen, we still got 2 periods to play here. That might be the way that this goes. Like, I remember Ilya Bryzgalov in 2010 after that Canada-Russia game saying, Canada came out at us like gorillas released from a cage. And that might be the U.S. here in the second period. That just may happen. But I always have this thing about USA Hockey that they really love and relish in hockey, not in other sports, but being the underdog. And that sort of identity, Madison, you can talk to us about this better than anyone here. That identity they're very comfortable with. I would submit this question. Is USA comfortable in hockey being a favorite?
I don't know. I think that's kind of what we were talking about before, is that they needed to maintain the underdog mentality. And I think it's because it's a dangerous position to be when you have nothing but success, right? They haven't really faced adversity. The closest thing to it was a little bit of a stumble when Sweden outshot them in one period. So I don't think that they've faced adversity in a way that they know how to, they've not necessarily learned how to respond. And I think that it is easier to be the underdog, because then if you fail, what's the risk? I think that's an interesting perspective. I haven't heard anyone else say it, but I think that, I think that Angela Ruggiero said before the tournament, they need to maintain an underdog mentality. And I think that right now that they're just uncomfortable because they weren't expecting this from Canada. And I think a lot of people from the outside looking in were.
The thing about it too, just to maybe take that sort of one step further too, like 2002, I was talking to Cassie Campbell-Pascall about this yesterday. 2002, USA was a better team. Full stop. Like, hands down, last call, lights on, everybody go home. Like, USA was a better team, but they weren't in that one game. I go to Sochi, and still one memory I'm going to take to the crematorium is that rolling puck that hits the post. Like, but USA in Sochi was the better team. In this tournament right now, and again, we're only 20 minutes in, USA is the better team. And that's why I always wonder about, like, what is it? Like, get comfortable being good. Like, I always say this to friends of mine that play USA Hockey. You're really good, and you're the only people that don't believe it for whatever reason. And I don't know if it's like ghosts of 1980 and we have to be the underdog and that's our identity. But, like, America, you're really, really good. Like, believe it, because you're outstanding. And we'll see what comes up here in the second and third period. But just something that I wanted to bring up, considering that, you would have, Madison, you would have a greater perspective on that than some Canadian who watches too many hockey games.
Well, I also lost to Canada. We were just saying.
We were just talking about that. I don't know if you heard that, Madison. She's never lost to Canada.
Ooh, that's a great stat. That's a great stat you can keep in your hip pocket. Hey, listen, man. It does not matter if you have that in your hip pocket. Keep that in your hip pocket.
Good one.
That would be something. That would be something that I'd be putting on the business card. Madison Packer never lost to Canada. and hand that one out wherever you go.
Jeff, what have you What have you seen from Canada? And so we were discussing this, that this is by far the best that this team has looked. And I asked Ann-Sophie as we were watching it, it said, you know, is it, can you go into an intermission and be excited about the fact that this is the best that you've played at this time of the tournament?
I think Canada's feeling really good about themselves. They're like the one thing about the United States, and we've been talking about this all tournament long, everybody has, is just the speed of the U.S., like the youth and the hungry young legs, and you know, like it's just incredible. And I think was it Haley Skamura that had the partial break, and she was caught by Renata Fast on the back check, and it's like, okay, but like that's Renata Fast, like she's one of the quickest in the game, so no surprise here. But I think what Canada is doing, and we knew they had to do this, like ugly up the game. Like the only way you're going to beat the United States is if you ugly it up. You're not going to win a track meet if you're Canada. You don't have the same legs that the United States does. So it's got to be, you know, stack in the neutral zone. It's got to be close gap. It's got to be, you know, 2 players on every puck. And listen, this is a difficult way to play. Like, I want to say this for Canada. If they can do this for 3 periods, bravo. Ann-Sophie, you can talk to us about this one as a Canadian. Like, this is a hard way to play for 3 periods against a team in the United States that we know is not going to get tired. They are not going to get tired.
Of course. And I think that's what I said earlier. They've done a lot of videos, and I think their neutral zone is outstanding. They're able to, you know, making sure they stop the US to generate some chances. But I thought, you know, overall, I've never seen Canada play that way, like with the speed. Now, as you said, like I think it's going to be a matter of, can they keep up? But if they have a structured game plan and they follow it, I mean, chances are that they might cause a surprise.
Well, hang on. I'm really. Can I just make one point here, Irf? Because I think that, you know, Ann-Sophie got us to a really interesting place here in the conversation, and I wonder if, and we see this in hockey all the time. There's 2 types of teams, right? Marc Bergevin would always say there are teams that get you there, and there are teams that get you through, and those are 2 different styles of teams. Like when it counts, and a game like this is when it counts. That's when you need a team that gets you through. There are plenty of great regular season teams. We see it in the PWHL, like Montreal as an excellent example. We see it in the NHL every season as well. Teams that are great in the regular season, and then the playoff puck drops, and man, why does the puck seem heavier? Why does everything seem like, where did all the ice disappear all around me? So there's 2 kinds of teams that get you there and teams that get you through. And right now you're in a position where you need a team that gets you through. And again, Madison, you mentioned small sample size. I'm talking about 20 minutes of a hockey game. Right now it looks like it's like we knocked Canada for like 16 returning players and too many vets, and needed to Primorano this whole thing up for Canada. Maybe this is, I don't know, maybe by design, that in a game like this, you want a team that doesn't get in their own head, because I don't know what's happening in between Layla Edwards' ears. I don't know what's happening between Carolyn Harvey's ears. I don't know what's happening between Abby Murphy, Taylor Heisey's ears right now. Elite players, but you know, this isn't Springfield. We're in Capital City now. Like this is a whole different ball of wax. Anyway, I'm just glad that Ann-Sophie got us to that place in the conversation. Sorry, if you can host again.
No, I wanted to ask you, and maybe all 3 of you, is which of these 2 teams, and to bring back to your point in the beginning, is who is more comfortable at being uncomfortable in this situation and where you are in a gold medal game? You mentioned all the experience, and we went after Canada about the team that they brought. And of those players that you just mentioned, Jeff, you know, a lot of first-time Olympians here, a lot of big moment. Yes, they've had big moments in their careers, but who, when you look at it, coaching staffs, everything from the top all the way down from Hockey Canada, and then obviously USA Hockey, in this position right now, who's more comfortable, you know, playing in a position where they got to, you know, be outside your comfort zone a little bit?
I think that's for the athletes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I say
I think, yeah, well, go ahead, Madison.
I just say Canada because, like, if I'm Canada, I'm in the locker room right now eating peanut butter with just like a shit-eating grin on my face. Like, got him. I mean, seriously, like the U.S. did not see that coming in any way. And so I think that, you know, they have to keep doing what they're doing and keep pushing forward because they have the experience there. Everyone's counted them out. and their captain got hurt. They took a little while to get the engine going, but I mean, the U.S. is panicked. And I mean, to what we were just talking about, I played on my sophomore year at Wisconsin. We're by far and away the favorite. I think we lost 2 games all season. Then we get to the Frozen Four, and all of a sudden we're playing the Gophers and we can't figure it out. But because there was just panic in the locker room, there wasn't necessarily the same strong leadership that we had the season prior. So we didn't have those same voices and the same calmness and confidence. Like, what does the inside of that US locker room look like with so many, I don't use immature in a negative way, but immature athletes from an Olympic standpoint? They haven't played on this stage. They haven't weathered this storm. You have Carpenter in the room, but you know, what is she bringing that she, didn't bring in the past? Who knows? So I think that if I'm Canada, I'm happy. If I'm the US, I need to get it together.
I second that 100%. And honestly, Canada, what they have to lose? Yes, a gold medal, but at the end of the day, when we look at the face to face that they had, I mean, Canada always lost. So again, they have everything to gain, and I think that's putting so much more pressure on the U.S. Than it does on Canada. So especially with that first period, I'm excited to see the second period now. How is it going to unfold? The U.S. has done a good job sometimes in the second period, so sometimes it can be tricky. A long change, you get stuck in your zone. A lot of things can happen, and now they're going to start with the power play. We all know that the U.S. has a good power play, so if they want to put themselves in a better place, they need to capitalize on that power play.
On the power play.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Irf.
No, go ahead, Jeff.
I was just saying, I want to just pick up on 2 points here. One, Ann-Sophie mentioned the power play. I kind of went into this game saying to myself, if Canada's going to win here, if they have any chance, like 5-on-5, it is so hard to score. Like, it's like a video game. You get through the forwards, you get through the D, and then you meet the big boss. It is Aaron Frankel. Like, good luck by the time you get there. It's going to have to be on the power play if it's going to be that for Canada. So and staying out of the box if you're Canada as well. I mean, Canada's kind of taken this game and put it in the heads of the United States right now. Now the test is mental. Now the test is mental for the United States, because these two teams, like, if they keep playing the exact same game, I think the USA still comes out on top. But we've seen athletes get in their own way. You guys, you two have. I mean, you guys played. You've seen it before. Sorry, Irf, you got a point?
Jeff, a short-handed goal for Canada to open the scoring in the gold medal game. 1-0 Canada. USA turns the puck over. Canada down the ice all the way.
Ooh,
a short-handed goal.
Got it.
I was trying to...
We know I don't have the monitor in front of me. It's upstairs in my office. Who got it?
Kristen O'Neill.
She's been good in this tournament. Holy smokes, Kristen O'Neill's been really good. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a lazy play by the U.S.
Okay, walk me through it. I got nothing in front of me, Madison.
Oh, this is huge.
Like, this is the Olympics. Are we kidding? Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you want to say what you want.
So puck comes around off the glass, Madison, and you said a lazy play. So kind of how lazy was it there?
Skate. Like,
on the back check?
I'm now, it's like delayed now. I've got to, but if the puck bounced off the boards, it was essentially a 2-on-2. I mean, Edwards coast, then she skates, kind of reaches her stick, and then literally has 2 feet on the, makes no attempt to even try to stop her. Railroads it back to, and then stops in front of her own goalie.
And so,
I'm actually mind blown.
Youth. Right?
What's that?
It's youth. I mean, this is the big stage. Like, Layla Edwards is going to be an outstanding defender for a long time for USA. She's going to be a real problem for Canada for the next 15 years. But this is her first kick at it. But this is, or if the point that I was going to make here before we got to the Kristen O'Neill goal here, is now this is between the ears for the United States.
Oh yeah,
that's what Canada wanted to do, and I still maintain, if you played the second period and the third period exactly like the first period was played, USA wins this game, unless they end up stepping on rakes. That's the only thing. Canada's got to get the game out of the feet and into the brains. You know, like that's the place where Canada's got to get to. This one goes a long way. Now,
Well,
a lot of
and
things have to still happen here. Like Fabienne's got to be awesome.
Yeah.
Like at the end of it too, like she's your big boss for Canada here. She's got to be great. But this is a great start for Canada for the second period.
Well, just one final point now, but before we let you go, Jeff, but you now planted that seed of doubt permanently there. You had a chance to go up on the power play, and then you allow a shorthanded goal in the early stages of this period in a game where you particularly aren't playing well to begin with right now.
You know what? Shorthanded goals, I mean, you two played. You can tell me whether I'm on base or off base here. Like that one, shorthanded goals kill the bench. Like right away, I know everyone on the ice is like, oh, and especially the person that turns the puck over is like, oh, but the bench just dies on a shorthanded goal. It's like, we just saw this on the men's side with Macklin Celebrini and his penalty shot goal, which is essentially the Kucherov goal between the arm and the chest. Mike Bossy, great, maybe the greatest goal scorer of all time. He used to always shoot 5-hole. And his thinking was, if I shoot in the corners, right? If I pick a corner, the goaltender can say, well, you know what? That's just a great shot. Like, I'm not going to stop that shot. But when a puck goes through a goaltender, that messes with their brain because pucks shouldn't go through you. They can go around you. That's fine, right? Goalies can always say, great shot. What am I going to do? You know, bar down. What am I going to do? Like, it's a great shot. Tip your hat. But when a puck goes through you, it messes with your mind. Shorthanded goals, I've always felt, and that's why aggressive penalty killers are so important now, more so than ever. I've always felt that shorthanded goals are the ones that don't just get the players on the ice, but get the players on the bench. Because if you do the cutaway right away, it's like the eye rolls, the shoulder slump, like all of it. Like that's probably the worst goal that's worse than giving up a power play goal if you're the United States.
Yeah, I think for the U.S., like if I'm a leader on that bench, I would have gone right. Not that it's Layla Edwards' fault. I mean, the puck got past 4 other people, right? But it was, in my opinion, a lazy play. You got to go up to the kid, and if she's going to keep getting on the ice, like tap her shin pads, fire her up, and that's just a difference, in my opinion, in leadership on the Canadian bench versus the U.S. bench. I don't think that's the leadership that you're going to see start to step up on the U.S. side because that's just not how they respond. And that's what this team needs, in my opinion.
Why? And how? Where does that come from?
That's a good question.
Why don't they respond that way?
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't respond that way. I mean, I don't. I played, when I was at Wisconsin, I played with Megan Duggan. In my opinion, one of the best leaders of all time in sport. And just the way that she handled things, being able to learn from a leader like that and play with someone like that, and then throughout my career, having played with other people, there's just an aura about some people. I've spent a lot of time. I've never played with Milan. I've played against her. I've spent a lot of time around her. She has that aura about her. I think it's almost like the empathy piece, maybe, if you will, which I don't think is a women's sport thing. I think that's a sport thing in general. I think that empathy in sport is super important. And I think that the greatest leaders, the greatest coaches, in my opinion, Scotty Bowman is one of the greatest coaches of all time. He had a ton of empathy. And I think that human empathy for your teammates, for your coaches, just all of that, the human experience along with being an athlete is super important. And I think that this leadership group on the U.S. side, having played with some of these athletes, they don't have that same empathetic approach. And I think that if, when all is said and done, like the wall comes crumbling down, that will be a large piece as to why.
Her next shift, Layla Edwards' next shift is going to be massive. Massive for her, not just this game, but for like the next little while in her career. Like, how do you bounce back? The empathy piece is an interesting one that Madison brings up too, because there's that sort of like hive mentality that I think you have to be a successful team. And there has to be a sort of stiffening of the spine of everyone up and down that U.S. bench. You know what? We're not going to let her wear this. We're getting that back. Layla, we're getting that back. Like, everyone's got to tell her, we're getting that back. We're getting that back.
Jeff, you're the best. We hope to have you back.
Hey, crew.
At some point here. Yeah,
Anytime.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Yeah, this is. I'm going back to watch a really fun game. Like, listen, U.S. is so awesome. I wanted to say this. Like, last in Beijing, that was the best Canadian national hockey team I've ever seen. Male, female, animal, vegetable, doesn't matter. Like, that was the best Canadian team I've ever seen. And going into today's game, this is the best. I know everyone's about 1980 and I get it and all that, but this is the best U.S. team that I've ever seen. Can they get the ball over the goal line? We'll see. But I think we've been blessed by seeing the two best teams from each country in the past two Olympics. So I'm looking forward now to watching the rest of this one.
Jeff, thanks you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Jeff Merrick. It's Jeff Merrick, host of The Sheet here on Daily Faceoff, among many other things that Jeff does. Wow. 1-0 Canada on a shorthanded goal in the gold medal game against the United States right now. Bench a little tight, sticks a little bit tighter now, but if you're the Americans, Madison, I mean, that seed of doubt is definitely planted in your head, and you got to go and try and get a goal here. You got to try and get some composure and even try and complete a pass, because even that's not happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, like let's back up for a second, right? Like this is the Olympic team. This is the pinnacle, the top of the top, the best. So these players can handle being exposed. They can handle criticism, blah, blah, blah. So Layla Edwards needs to own it. While it wasn't just her fault, she needs to own it, respond in a way that is impactful. And I think that to Peter's point, like the response is going to be huge, but also the response from the whole group, not just one individual player. And I think that, I don't know, I'm not going to be recommended for my play-by-play skills after that. I was literally speechless. I could not believe that happened.
Well, that's the
but
thing.
It was a lazy play. I mean, like, it's a lazy play. And that's the thing. Like, if you're not a healthy locker room, like, you don't go in the locker room and scream at her and be like, what the heck were you doing? Don't ever do that again. Like, you're not talking crap and you're not like belittling and berating. You're like, bro, come on. This is the Olympics. Like, you're better than that. Like I'll go through a wall for you. Like, you're not gonna back check for me. Like, that's kind of, I mean, like, if she had just moved her feet a little more, she catches up to that player and Frankel probably makes that save. You know, like it's a completely different play.
But to your point, you mentioned go back in the locker room. It happened in the first 2 minutes of the period. So now you got to sit on the bench and go get shifts and try and get back and gain that confidence back for the rest of this period and obviously the game.
Yeah. And find a way to put a positive spin on it, right? Like, hey, like, she knows she messed up. She doesn't need us to come down on her. It's the highest of levels. But hey, good news. It was a lazy play. So if we just move our feet, that doesn't happen again. If that's the only sniff we give them, then we're going to go move our feet twice as fast, right? Like, that's the positive spin on it is like it truly was a self-inflicted wound. And it's as cliche as it is, right? And so hockey's a game of mistakes, but it's true. I mean, that's a huge mistake that just cost you.
Yeah, it's huge.
Like,
and
self-inflicted.
The response is, as you all said, it's going to be key. And I think you nailed it. It's not just from her. It's from everybody. And the earlier, like, if they can get back to just putting pucks on net and getting a goal for the U.S., like, earlier rather than later, that's going to help them saying, okay, like, we're back. And, you know, when you're down 1-0, it's a whole completely different thing. And there's a lot of game left, you know, like, we look at the Canada game against Czechia, the guys where, well, they had 6 players on the ice, but when Suzuki, like, they scored at 7 minutes left, Suzuki scored at 4, so that's a 3-minute, and we all know, oh, that was a great save by Ann. We all know that things can change so quickly, but the U.S. now seems to have picked it up a little bit more, and, you know, they have control in the O-zone, and I haven't seen that all that much from them since the beginning of the second period. So they need to learn and build off the good things that they do and forget about whatever happened.
TV timeout now for this gold medal game between Canada and USA. And so we spend a lot of focus on, you know, the mistakes that were made by US and what happened and how can they, you know, improve and get better and kind of get back into the game here. But for Canada, I mean, again, we go back to the beginning of this game. You're a very heavy underdog coming into this match. Everyone's going to write you off. They thought the game was going to be done early and often. And now you're up 1-0 with nearly half the game gone in the gold medal game. And you have played some of your best hockey in this tournament so far.
Yeah, I mean, you have to give a lot of credit to the Canadian team. They've done a really good job. They seem like they know that's, you know, desperation can can overcome talent, and so far that's what we've seen. You know, I've seen a group that is motivated, that is that moves their feet way more than we've seen all tournament, and I can probably say way more than the U.S. today. I mean, we were talking about having a second quick. Right now, Canada is second quick. Whenever the puck's in the corner, there's one, sometimes two player. They're able to get the puck out, and they're able to create something off it. Again, something I have not seen in the previous game. So really happy with the way that Canada is playing, and we have to give a lot of credit. It's not only the U.S. making mistakes, but Canada is playing really well, and they seem to have learned where their little weaknesses are. Because before this game, we were talking about the U.S. how strong they were, and like Anne Renee, we talked about how good of a goalie she can be, and you've seen massive, like that stop that just happened right now. That was almost an automatic goal and kick save, and she makes that. That was an amazing save. She can be a difference maker in that game, and we mentioned it before the beginning of the game too.
Yeah, and I think that also one of the things is moments in games where we're going to look back and say, you know, this was a key point, and this is something that happened. So are we going to look back at that Anne-Renee Desbiens save later on and be like, was that a moment? And obviously the shorthanded goal, the mistake, was that a moment? The U.S. hasn't had a moment of theirs just yet, and you hope that it's coming here at some point, Madison.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, it's like like we just keep saying the same things almost, but it's like that's kind of what it is, right? Like I think that it's just habits, and you don't want to panic. You don't want to like go back to the drawing board and start to change all these things. It's just consistency, and the U.S. hasn't been in this position to this point. This is the first goal that they've had scored on them this tournament. This is the first time that they're behind at any point. So like they just can't panic. They just need to remember that, you know, they've done a lot to prepare for this moment. They've done a lot to get themselves into this position. And I think the minute you start to panic and you start trying to skate, because again, they have a lot of individual skill on that team, right? The minute you start trying to skate through players on your own, you start to deviate from the game plan. That's when it really goes off the rails.
What does panic look like? Because I don't think that they're there yet.
No, they're not there at all.
Yeah.
You asking me or Anso?
Well, I was asking you. I just said, what does panic look like for them? Yeah.
I think players starting to hold on to pucks too long. Like in my opinion, sometimes poor decision making. Right, if you got the puck on your backhand or you're on your forehand, and you make a blind pass on your backhand, like just uncharacteristic plays. Usually, again, puck possession. So holding on to it for too long in situations when you should move it, or just getting rid of it because you're trying to make a frantic play. I don't think that they're there, but like that's as time starts to tick off the clock, like that's where you'll start to see if they start to slip. It's like as time starts to dwindle, and composed teams won't. I mean, Canada didn't the other night.
Yep. Half the hockey game gone now. Under 9 minutes to go in the second period. And from Canada's perspective, we mentioned it with Jeff, and you said that, you know, if they can play this game, which is a dangerous game of, you know, the way that they were playing and able to hold it on. I mean, how huge was that to get that little bit of cushion room with that goal, and it alleviates a little bit of stress for the way that you have to play.
Well, yeah, of course. And, you know, we're talking about a shorthanded goal that's creating so much momentum for your team. And, you know, whether it is to block a shot on the PK, but now we're talking about scoring a goal on the PK. That's huge. And I'm not sure any of us expected a shorthanded goal here in this final game. But like to come back on your point to what this panic looks like, I think it's just individual trying to do too much, you know, and instead of just looking at my player, I'm going to try to do somebody else's job. But then if I do somebody else's job, is somebody going to do mine? And then that's where it starts to collapse. And but so I think, you know, it's just a matter of being composed for the US and sticking to the process and trusting that you have faith in your group. And for Canada, is keeping doing those things and, you know, trying to score some more goals.
Another TV timeout now. They just showed a close-up of Anne-Renee Desbiens, and not even the save, just smiling. Just smiling, confident as ever, knowing that, obviously she's made some key saves in this one, but none bigger than the one, obviously, that she made here in the second period to keep this game at 1-0.
Well, you could she's in the zone, and it's very dangerous when she's in that state, and we even talked about earlier when she got scored 5 goals. They weren't bad goals, but like right now, like she's hot and she could save the game. Like if she keeps playing this way, the US is going to have a hard time to getting through her. So that's a good sign for her. And whenever she's smiling, it means she's not too much in her head, and that she has faith. And I think she sees the way the game is evolving and the way that the team is playing in front of her. I mean, the shots are pretty even, good scoring chances on both sides. So, you can be confident in that sense. And confidence for Anne Renee means really good stuff for Canada.
Madison, how do you get a goalie that is playing or seems to be in the zone off their game without getting yourself into trouble? Like, it's a very fine line, very fine. Oh, but right, because it happened. We've seen it happen before. It does happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a proponent for like actually running the goalie, but yeah, I mean, you just have to you want to play within the confines of the game, but until the whistle goes, you're right there in her face, poking at the puck. Your heels are on the crease. Let their D push you into the goalie. I mean, goalies don't like that. Especially, I played with Ann, and she's one of the best goalies I ever played with. She's an incredible goaltender. She does not want to be touched. Like if you, but she also, right, like you can also piss her off to the point that you're going to just fire her up. So there's a fine line to walk there too. But I think that to Ann-Sophie's point, like she's out there having fun. She used to practice with the boys when I was at Wisconsin. Like she loves hockey, and when she's got her team rallied around her, she's a dangerous goalie.
Just about 8 minutes left in the second period. Shots 14-11. The score 1-0 for Canada. Kristen O'Neill with a shorthanded goal to open the second period for Canada in this one. And the Americans just trying to get something towards the front of the net. Shots just sailing high and wide right now for the United States. And so for Canada's point of view, you're at some point here, you are going to have to weather a massive storm from the U.S. Like, it is going to come fast and furious by the United States, and you're going to see it. So you're up 1-0 now. You can't lose your composure. You're playing well. You can't sit back, though. You still have to continue to play the way that you have been this far.
Yeah, and I think if they do change the way that they're playing, it's going to be a nail biter for them. They've had success the way they've played, so why try to change? I think that the U.S. are not used to feeling that pressure, and you have to keep applying that pressure. And sometimes it's like, okay, well, I'm thinking of I can't get scored on, and that could be very detrimental for Canada. So game plan is the game plan. Stick to the process, and you've been playing well this way. Keep doing it. Now, hopefully, they still have gas in the tank all the way to the end of the game to be able to continue playing that way, because it is demanding, it's challenging, but again, you've trained for 4 years to be for that game, and that game is now. So empty the tank and, have no regrets.
6.5 now to go. And U.S. getting some pressure now. Probably one of their better shifts. But that's just it. I mean, you go and look at it, and we haven't seen that from the U.S. where they've sustained offensive zone pressure or for a lengthy period of time, Madison. I think when you look at it, it's been a lot of getting it in and just trying to fire the puck to the net, whether it's a good chance or a bad chance. There hasn't been that sustained pressure where they've had back-to-back chances in the offensive zone.
Yeah, I would be interested to see like how many of their shots on net are grade A opportunities, but also to your point, like they aren't really getting second and third opportunities right now. So they're having Canada's doing a good job of keeping them to the outside and then also picking up sticks and keeping the front of the net clear so that Renee can see pucks and also there aren't those same second and third opportunities.
Mentioned you played with Anne Renee. What's Anne Renee Debian like
I
off
have
the
an
ice?
amazing Renee story that I can't share, but it's so funny. But I have, but oh boy, crazy wired. She's so funny because when she moved to Madison, Wisconsin to go to school, she did not speak English, and literally, you Frenchies are wild. And so, like, she moved to Madison, no bank account, no cell phone, no English, and her parents just dropped her off, and were like, "Oh, fuck." And like my parents had to take her to Target and like take her shopping to get like sheets for her dorm. Like she had a
That's great.
suitcase and that was it. They helped her open a bank account, figure out how to get a cell phone, and she had to stay at my apartment. I just moved into a new apartment. And so I had this Frenchie that didn't speak any English sleeping on my couch. But she's fine. She caught on
But
quickly.
goalies are just
Although I do
different,
think
though. It's not
Goalies are
hockey
just
Beckers.
different,
I
though,
think it's
yes.
just goalies are different.
yeah. I do think she spoke more English than she let on. Because she caught on really quick.
Yeah.
But she's fun. Very
Yeah, she's
competitive.
a good person.
Yeah, good person.
It's going to get interesting here as the clock winds down in the second period between Canada and USA. 5.5 to go. As to what type of US team you're going to get. I mean, obviously, if this score holds after 40 minutes, then, you know, can Canada hang on for 20 minutes? Because they're going to have to hang on for dear life. But this American team, through, you know, almost 40 minutes of this game, hasn't looked the part of this American team that we've seen at all in these Olympic Games.
But an interesting game too. Like very like I don't feel like I'm watching certain players and I'm like, oh, like how have I seen them out there much? Like it's just it's not like a super. I don't say not exciting in a not entertaining way, right? But it's just very like perimeter back and forth. Seems like, in my opinion, not super low risk.
Well, I mean, just look at how many games that we had to talk about after, and they all were blowouts when it involved the United States of America. And then obviously in Canada in the last game, and that was the closest game that, you know, we had to discuss. But beyond that, it was blowing out teams.
Yeah.
And Philly just got absolutely robbed. That's a game-saving save.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a good save. You're ahead, but I just saw the save. That's, yeah.
You're waiting
That
for it.
could
I'm
be
just
a
going to not say
moment.
anything until you guys react to it.
That's the moment. No, it's okay.
You got like a backdoor pass key over there, Irf. You're Ann-Sophie and I are in the same spot.
Yeah, we've got the game on the TV feed here, so anyone watching on an internet stream will be a little delayed. So, Irf will have to wait.
I'm just going to shut up and not say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 seconds later, you can talk about it.
Yeah.
My TV is streaming.
No, that was, I mean, Freckle's doing an actual amazing job of stopping Canada, and that was a great save. Holy cow.
And nice footwork from Jake. Sophie Jake's story is crazy. Like, she was released from the Boston Fleet
Yeah.
2 seasons ago, and now she's playing top minutes at the Olympics. Malte is getting in there, mixing it up with the goalie. The U.S. needs a Malte.
Yeah.
Send Murphy out there.
Yeah.
Stick her butt in the crease.
I was gonna say she could do it.
Doesn't have to be cheap. You just gotta like bump, just incidental contact a couple times. Sorry.
As we approach the end of the second period, I've run a couple polls in our YouTube chat. So I asked who will win the gold medal game, and that was before, as the game started. We let it run through the whole first period. 53% said Canada, 47% said U.S. That changed a lot throughout that first period, though. A lot of people were high on the U.S. early, and then when they saw what Canada did in the first, started thinking there might be an upset. And then I asked who everyone's cheering for, and the respondents gave us 68% cheering for Canada, 32% for the U.S. So a pro-Canada crowd, but a crowd that thinks that at least at the start of the game really thought that the U.S. would take this one. So we'll see as the second period winds down how it ends up being and how many of our listeners will go home happy.
I think it's almost it's like very surprising to watch because this U.S. team doesn't look like the one that we've seen. And at some point, yes, Canada deserves a lot of the credit, and so in this because of the way that they're playing and they're making it very uncomfortable with their game plan for the United States. But even to your points earlier, Madison, like it's an inexperienced team. I don't want to say the moment's too big because it's only a 1-0 game, but there's got to be a moment in this game where you're looking for someone to go and kind of drag them into the fight here a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, like it's just the passes aren't connecting. It's not crisp. It's not panic. Like I keep talking about, I'm behind you. But yeah, they just need, they need someone to step up, and whether it's a big play or like a vocal moment, I don't know, but they just seem a little discombobulated and like again like the team that we haven't seen to this point.
And then so you have to like it if you're Canada because you're still applying pressure. You know, U.S. had that one little foray of chances in your zone, but the last couple of minutes here, it's been all Canada.
Yeah, and you just saw Thompson, bringing the puck and putting it on net. And we've said if we can generate a few offense from the defensemen, like that's what you want to see. And I feel I haven't seen that all that much from the U.S., where they've done such a great job in the past games. And so applying pressure is good, and sticking to the game plan. And at the end of the day, if you can do that, well, you're gonna have a good chance of keeping that game 1-0.
And 90 seconds to go now in the period. Shots now 19-16 in favor of Canada. 1-0 still to score here in the gold medal game.
Now the U.S. is trying a little more. They're having a bit of ozone time, but they're not the pressure that they were able to give to the opponents. And Ann, I've seen most of the shots. She's been in control, and if she can see the puck, most of the chance she'll stop.
The other thing is it looks like they're crowding in front of the net, right? Like they've had at least two. A little while ago, there were 3 people in front of the net. In my opinion, looking back at some of these games when they've had success, like I mean, their structure and position has been almost perfect. Like what you want to see on Sports Center, drawn up in a triangle, and like you break it down perfectly for kids. Like, this is what support looks like. And they don't have that, which is maybe why they're struggling with a puck. Like their timing is a little bit off. Their support is not quite as close or quite as quick. And so I think that might be why they're struggling a bit from the puck movement standpoint, right? But so many of their goals have been generated from below the goal line, from behind the net, right? Where they have this low to high movement, they have strong structure, and they're F1 to F2 up high. Like, they just don't have. They're just crashing the net right now, throwing pucks to the point, which is a strategy for sure. But I just don't know if they need to. Like, that's a panic strategy, in my opinion. That's hey, we need to get pucks to the net, pucks to the net. Like, they just need to have more composure with the puck, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they haven't had that suffocating play where, you just force your opponents to make mistakes. Canada right now is applying all the pressure, and the U.S. are the ones that are, making small mistakes, incremental little things that you don't see too often from them. Laura Stacey in this tournament has played 6 games, has 1 goal, 4 assists. Pretty good tournament so far for her as well for Canada.
Yeah, she's done a good job of, bringing the speed. And I think splitting her and Poulin was probably the best decision. And, putting her with Clark and Turnbull, they have played together in the past. And, it just adds so much depth to their roster. And the speed that she can bring and the pressure that she can apply. And, when we saw on the PK, she's done an amazing job of, creating that goal.
All right, Kristen O'Neill's second period shorthanded goal is the only one of the game so far. It's 1-0 Canada through 40 minutes in the gold medal game against the U.S. 20 minutes to go after a short break here. And yeah, I think you have gut check time right now if you're U.S. And if you're Canada, it is hydrate. It is do whatever you need to do to go and be able to get back out there and give this final 20 minutes a go. But Madison, the message from the U.S. is we haven't played our game yet. And I think that in itself you can look at as a positive, or am I wrong there?
I think I don't like the answer of a mix of both, but I think a mix of both because, yeah, that's a positive, but wow, what a disappointment that we can't come out in the gold medal game, right, and play our best. But I think that, I don't know, I don't, knowing some of those players and the personalities, if I'm the coaching staff of that crew, I'm taking control of the locker room. I'm calming everybody down. We are not panicking because we know we have the tools in our box to get things done. We just need to regroup, remind ourselves why we're here, what the purpose is. Like, what's the worst you're going to do? Walk away with a silver medal, right? But right now, you're not out there giving it your all, giving us the best chance for that to happen. Right now, you're playing scared. You're playing tentative. You're afraid to make a mistake. You're going to make 4. So just go out and play your game. I would put Caroline Harvey out on the ice more. I would get players going to the net. But again, I wouldn't just divert to the panic structure of throw pucks at net, crash the goalie. Like, rely on what has worked, which is your strong ability to play the game and move the puck. And just get everyone to calm down a little bit. Like, it's everyone's gripping their sticks a little too tight, in my opinion. And they're just not moving the puck the way that they're capable of.
And so Troy Ryan is in the locker room saying what to his group?
Keep going. Keep doing just exactly what you did, because whatever the game plan was, it's working. And why change things that are working? So it's just to keep going and, making sure this is the last 20 minutes. Again, a lot of things can happen in that last 20 minutes, but, if you keep playing the way you're playing, and I mean, the U.S. hasn't had that many chances on Ann, and if you're reducing the time that they're in the O-zone, you're increasing your chances of winning or putting your hands on that gold medal. So just sticking to the game plan and, keep going.
All right, let's welcome in someone who joined us in our last live stream for these games, and I was very happy with the way that he was able to do it and break down the game for us. Pat LaPrade, thank you so much for coming on again. We really appreciate it. We talked last time, and there was a lot of, I don't want to say discontent, but we might have to have a different conversation about this Canadian team through 40 minutes of this game, do we not?
I've been telling you all along, Canada is the strongest team. They have Americans have no chance against Canada. Isn't it what I said the last time?
I think we have it on tape. We can roll it back, I'm sure.
Oh no,
These
really?
Frenchies so consistent.
I'm
You
really
must be a goalie.
surprised. I'm actually really surprised to see the kind of game we're having today. Canada is doing very well on the forecheck, on the back check. And I mean, it seems to be working. It's a different team that we've seen all tournament long. It's the team that actually we expected to see against the US the first time, and against Czechia, and against every other team they actually faced. And Anne-Renée Desbiens is playing so well, and it's a mix of many things. And Canada is playing better, right? That's for sure. But also, and I kind of agree with what Madison just said, about the Americans. They seem nervous on the ice. They don't play like we've seen them play before, and they're missing opportunities. We've seen, Haley Wynn, Anne-Renée Desbiens did a fantastic save against Wynn, but at the same time, there were a lot of room for Wynn to put that puck, in the net, and she didn't. Britta Curl in front of the net as well had a very good chance. I've never seen the Americans missing the net so much, shooting from inside the blue line. So, I mean, it's a mix of both, and we're having a 1-0 game for Canada after 2 periods. Who would have thought?
Well, that's the thing, and I think when you look at it from, we'll start with the American perspective here a little bit. I mean, almost a sense of they haven't faced adversity at all in this tournament. They steamrolled teams. It wasn't even close in any of these games. You get to this game, and I don't think, Madison made up a great point, they didn't expect Canada to do what they did, and they punched them right in the mouth early. And I know they didn't score until the second period, but Canada came ready to play, and I don't think the U.S. was expecting that.
I'm not sure if, I mean, really, I do think the Americans were expecting that. I mean, you have to expect the best. You have to expect the best from a team like the Canadian team. But were they able to actually stop the Canadian from doing what they were doing? That's another story. But you got to expect Canada to come better than the last time. You don't go in the locker room and the coach is not saying, well, you know what? It's going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be exactly like the last game. That's what I said. That's not what he said to his team before the game. But at the same time, the Canadians are doing it so well that the Americans don't have any answers for that so far. And I mean, we could see it. I mean, the second period was the best period for the Americans all tournament long. 18 goals up until today, and they didn't score yet. So I do think that, the Americans have to regroup. They need to, and Madison was saying, they need to do what they're doing right, and they need to go back to what they did right all tournament long, and maybe, the puck will roll for them.
And for Canada, I mean, you look at it and say, you've done everything that you needed to do to get the lead. Now you have the lead. And can you hold on for 20 more minutes because a storm's coming?
That's going to be hard. That's going to be tough. Because the Americans will come in the third period. There'll be fire. I mean, if they don't, they're going to lose the gold medal. They have 20 minutes left. It's only a 1-goal game. So you got to expect that the Americans will come with their best shot, with their best body check, with their best everything. I mean, is it going to be too much for Canada? Canada didn't have a good third period on many occasions. Remember the game against Finland where they only had 3 shots on net in the third period. So and against Germany as well, they didn't have a strong third period. Against Switzerland too. So I mean, if there's one period that Canada can actually be dominated by the US, it's that third period. Now, if Anne-Renée Desbiens decides that nothing will pass her, well, perhaps Canada will win the gold.
Well, I see you smiling there a little bit, Anso, and I think that you mentioned it there in the second period, though. Like, she looks like she's just in the zone, and what you just mentioned, Pat, that maybe nothing's going to get by her. This might be a chance where we can lean on our goaltender, but we don't have to. But if we do the things that we need to do, she's going to help us get to where we need to go.
Of course, and I think, as I said, I think she sees her team helping her out. Last times, or whenever they played the U.S., she was on her own. right now I feel and I see a united group that they're all on the same page. And when Anne is in confidence, I'm telling you, she can make some damage. And I said she can't score any goals. So at the beginning, and you can roll the tape. If Canada can score at least one goal, like they're gonna be in a good position because she's done an amazing job at stopping some goals. There's some 2-3 good chances that I can recall where she's made some save where the US could have, tied the game up or even taken the lead. And on the other side, the US goalie has done an amazing job as well. But Anne, in the PWHL, we said it's 2-0. It's a 2-goal or less, and she's in the zone. And when she's in the zone, she is very dangerous. And I said she's smiling, she's in confidence. That's honestly terrific for Canada because without her in net, it's not the same game. But again, I see a unified group. They're all together, and that's very positive to me. But to Pat's point, if Canada is letting a little bit off the pedal, the US can come in, and that's going to be dangerous because if they do feel that they're able to get back into this game, they haven't had the first 40 minutes. So their gold medal is on the line. So who wants it more? And I feel it's going to be a very interesting third period.
There's a couple of things here. I mean, it's only 1-0 Canada, and we haven't seen the best from the US yet. So that's scary. I remember a save that Anne-Renée Desbiens did. I think it was in the second period, early in the second period. After it was 1-0 Canada. And she just stopped the puck, like with her gloves standing up over one of the Americans' player. And she just shook her head like this. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's in the zone. Oh, Americans are in trouble right now. So that's the kind of game that Anne-Renée Desbiens is having. And the other thing I want to mention also, it's been over a week now that the Canadian players are, reading and hearing about, how they have no chance in that gold medal game. That is going to be, their biggest loss in Olympic, final ever, and everything that we talked about, and many others. And I cannot think that, at the end of the day, there's not a little of an ego there. You like, I want to prove you wrong. I want to prove everybody wrong that, we belong there, that we have a chance to win that gold medal. And that's the kind of game they're having right now. They want to prove everybody wrong.
Pat, maybe, and so you can answer this too if you want, are we underestimating the presence of just having Marie-Philip Poulin in the lineup? Because she didn't play against the Americans. They got smoked in that hockey game. She comes back and they start to gain their trajectory, and right now they're playing at their best. Are we underestimating how much she really means to this group, even when she's on the ice? She hasn't factored into the score sheet at all yet, but she's out there and obviously, doing what she can to help her team.
I mean, she's a factor for sure, but I don't think she's the X factor in this game so far.
No.
But she's a factor. That's Marie-Philip Poulin, But at the end of the day, I don't think the US is playing as good as they were all tournament long, and everybody is stepping up in this Canadian team. Is it because of Marie-Philip Poulin being on the bench? Is it because of her being on the ice? I mean, that would be a lot to put on one player's shoulders. And it wouldn't say much about the rest of the team if that was only the case. But is she a factor? 100%.
Yeah, she's obviously a factor. And, we saw videos of her being in the stands, and you can't have an impact when you're in the stands. I mean, just the fact of her being there and people kind of realizing, is that going to be our last Olympics? Are we going to give everything, that we have for her? We know she's injured. Everybody needs to step up. Like, who knows? She may be in the medical room in between periods, and she's not even with the team because she needs some treatment. We don't know what's happening, but the fact that she's on the ice, what I like is the fact that everybody's stepping up, and it's not only Anne, it's not only the defense, it's everybody, and we've seen a good period by Stacey's line with Turnbull and Clark, and sometimes O'Neill was even on that line instead of Turnbull. So O'Neill she's been playing amazing. Like, we haven't seen much of Gardner, Jenner, But the people who are on the ice are actually on, and that's one of the change that Troy Ryan is doing. Whoever is hot, I'm playing them, and I feel he didn't do that all that much in the previous games. Now it's like, okay, I'm gonna rely. Show me you want to be on the ice. I'm gonna reward you. You know, you've done a good shift. I'm gonna send you back, and I think he's done a great job of reading his team and putting the right players on the ice who's working. And it's not just relying oh, Poulin, go on the ice. You know she's injured. So try to give more to your other lines who are kind of contributing and you know generating some momentum. Sarah Nurse have done an outstanding. We've mentioned last time I wanted to see more from her. I'd like to see her score again on the scoreboard, but she's done an amazing job, and we've said it right before the game. How can she contribute defensively, offensively? Well, that's exactly what she's done. She's able to carry the puck in the zone, you know, bring the puck to the net, stuff that we haven't seen all that much from her. And it's just a matter of, you know, building those blocks and putting everything together to the puzzle, which is, you know, after 40 minutes, 1-0 Canada for all those reasons.
To Anso's point, Troy Ryan needed to shorten his bench today, and he did so far. Katie Taben hasn't played in the game yet, and Jennifer Garner barely played a minute, and that's what he needed to do. To put the ones that are performing the best and to put his best out there. And so far, so good.
And to Pat's point, Madison, I might have to ask you this. Heading into the third period, are you going to see the bench get a lot shorter or a little bit shorter for the Americans here looking for a goal?
Yeah, I think so. Which way do you lean? I'm not sure, because I think that you have veteran experience, but then you have, you know, energetic skill on the young end. So I think that you'll probably see a mix to start the game, hopefully, and hopefully they can get a spark going. I don't know what the broadcast looks like on the Canadian side. I saw a pretty unhappy Hillary Knight. That was basically her comment was just repeatedly, we need to turn up the heat. We need to turn up the heat. We haven't played our best game yet. I think that that's obvious. So they know that they need to come out with everything they've got here to start this period if they want any chance, because that Canadian team is not going to let down. I mean, now it's not a matter skill and X's and O's and systematically it doesn't matter. Now it's about who's going to want it more, and that's a pretty inspired group in the locker room.
Pat, what's something that through 40 minutes in this hockey game that surprised you the most?
Probably the way the Americans didn't scored on a few opportunities they had. I mean, I was expecting more good quality, you know, grade A shots on net, and they didn't do that as much as they did in the other game against Canada and the rest of the tournament. A lot of missed shots, you know, over the net, or like Ailey Wynn, you know, like I'm repeating myself, but Ailey Wynn, I mean, yes, Anne-Renée did a fantastic goal, but there were like so much room for her to put that in the back of the net. I think they have to capitalize more on those opportunities if they want to win that game.
I mean, it's gut check time now, right? If you're the Americans, that's it. Like, this is it. 20 minutes for all the gold in the world. And you're going to have to go about it in a different way. You're going to have to approach it a little bit differently, but also, Madison, rely on what got you here. Like, there's a fear of maybe trying to do too much. You're here for a reason. The way that you've played throughout this entirety of this tournament has been incredible. So if you can get back to a little bit of that, you might be okay in the first couple minutes of this period.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny and it's interesting, right? Because we sit around and we talk about it, and people buy tickets, and like, right, it's a huge entertainment factor. But at the end of the day, this goes back to something that most of these women have been doing since they were very young girls, right? Since they're 3, 4, 5 years old. Like, the game doesn't change. It gets more fun and more exciting, and then the stakes increase, etc. But to them, like, this next 20 minutes of hockey will probably feel like it went by in a blink, or or maybe dragged on forever. But went by in a blink, and there's like it's quiet, and you're just doing everything that you can possibly do to get to that end result, which, like, you almost forget that you're in the gold medal game, or you try to, or you hope to, because at the end of the day, it's like most of these players, they don't like to win, they hate losing. And this is the ultimate test of that. you've got 20 minutes to win a hockey game. Like that's all it's about, and you can do anything for 20 minutes. So I think that it's going to be a tough battle for the U.S. Honestly, like they have more skill, absolutely. But going into that, like if I'm Canada, there is no better position to be in my opinion, because you just have to fight like hell to defend your position. You're not playing scare, you're not playing on your heels, but like you've got nothing to lose at this point. I mean, you're going into the last period of the gold medal game with a goal advantage with one of the best goaltenders in the world. So I think that the U.S. has got to bring the very best that they've got and something that we haven't even seen to this point. They're going to win this game because it's going to be a very, very tough Canadian team to beat.
And we've seen that scenario back in 2014, but on the flip side, the US were winning 1-0, that post with the empty net, and then Canada scored and Pooh scored again in the overtime period. So I mean, it's only a 1-0 game. It's a 1-goal game for Canada, and I mean nothing is done yet.
Pat, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. We really appreciate it.
No problem. My pleasure. And it's going to be a very exciting 20 last minutes. So maybe I'm hoping the best 20 minutes of women's hockey all year. So let's enjoy that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time to do that. All right, Madison. Well, here we go, right? Like we said, 20 minutes, and that's it. Well,
you said the best 20 minutes of women's hockey. I got to give a shout out right now to my young guns that are at the Pee Wee Quebec tournament. 12U Connecticut Junior Rangers. They just beat the Little Caesars, the Detroit Red Wings, 5-0.
Let's
absolute
go.
spank. Yeah. So they're moving on.
Awesome.
My wife's coaching that team, Anya, with like a 65-year-old Bob Crawford that used to play for the New York Rangers. Dynamic duo, those two. But the kids, it was a big. They were underdogs, supposedly going into the game. 5-0.
Well, that's great. And this is in the Quebec tournament.
Yeah, in Quebec. Yeah, I had to come back to Stamford because of technical difficulties.
Well, that's great. Hey, your coach, your team is playing some inspired hockey right now.
Yeah. Yeah. See, like, I don't know what. It just registered. I know I'm a little behind you. It just registered a shot for the U.S. that was like a bounce off at the end wall, right? I would be interested to see at the end of this game, because we don't have live stats going, how many of these shots on net for the U.S. are actual grade A or even grade B opportunities.
Well, here, I mean, let me ask you this: we pretty much watched most of the game. Have you seen any that are grade A or grade B? I think there was one in the second period where André Debian had to make a ridiculous save, but beyond that, the pucks on net has just been shot volume.
I've seen a couple. There was one that I thought went over the crossbar. There was just a play that happened a few seconds ago for a curl, but they're all just missing the net by like, but not even by a small margin, right? I mean, Curl just missed the net by like 8 feet.
Layla Edwards has had a couple where she's flown them over the net.
Sabotage. We're going to find out that all these sticks were manufactured in Canada.
The fix is in, according to Madison Packer.
Yeah, it just seems like a lot of uncharacteristic errors.
Like earlier, seeing US throw its weight around a little bit. Oh, Janicki just tried to fire pass through.
So you both were asking about the shots. The IIHF site does have a shot chart that you can do. So I've pulled up the charts from the first two periods.
Okay, let's see them.
I don't know.
Sorry.
It it won't really work to bring it onto the screen, the stream, just because it's not very good. Like the data points are so tiny. I'm like zooming in like crazy and can't really tell what's going on. But what I will say is, for the most part, like the U.S. did a better job in the second period than they did in the first at getting shots from more dangerous areas. But still, they've missed the net from in tight more than you would hope. Like 2 of their best shot locations in the slot missed, and a lot of the shots on goal have come from further out, kind of hash marks or further back. So, both of you mentioned, the U.S. are putting pucks on net, but are they necessarily dangerous, high danger opportunities? I would say so far, second period was better than the first, but still not where the U.S. needs to be.
I'm just taking a look at it right now. Yeah, you're right. There's like 2 shots that are below the face-off dots. It's interesting to see it.
Yeah, I mean, that was my point. Like when you like here, look at this line that you got Coyne, Knight, and Carpenter out there together. It's interesting because when you aren't being successful, like you think, okay, we just got to get bodies to the net. The most simple generic hockey answer is get pucks to the net, get bodies to the net, and that's like oversimplifying it and overcritical. Is just like, that's not coaching. That's just telling kids to throw pucks. That's just telling people to go to a space, right? Like that's not what they need to do. There's opportunities are created, yes, when good things happen when the puck goes to the net, but like hockey is a game of probability, right? Like what is you're constantly evaluating what is the highest probability of success in this play. Like you want to make high percentage plays, and they're just not doing that. Like they're not making it's not good decision making. They're not analyzing the play and saying, option A, B, C. They're just picking their heads up and making option A, which might have a 2% probability of success, in my opinion.
This game's got one of those feelings where you look at it and you say, the next goal might win it. Right? If US could score and its next goal could win this hockey game very easily. And so I don't know. Like we had Pat on and he was saying, we haven't seen anything from US yet and this, that, and the other. But for me, this one's got next goal wins for sure.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the next goal will definitely give the momentum to the team who's going to get it. And you know what? Like I kind of like the U.S. the way that they started this third period, and we've seen more speed, a little more from them than what we've seen in the second and the first. But yeah, I feel it too. Next goal might win this game.
I mean, I'm sure Anne-Renee Debian's going to have something to say about that, but it definitely could be something we're going to have to keep our eye on here. But yeah, I mean, look, I think when we're at it right now, third period's well underway. Canada's got that lead. The U.S. is starting to, connect some passes and try and tilt the ice in their favor. But, Canada's just going to try and weather the storm for the next 16 odd minutes.
Yeah, and I just wonder, like, is it going to be too late for the U.S. or... yes, there's a lot of time left, but, not that they lost 40 minutes, but kind of. I just think they didn't play to the standard that they showed throughout this whole tournament. And again, like we were talking about, you need a Malte, like whenever Murphy ran and Renee, like these are little things that if the U.S. needs to beat and Renee, it's to get out of her game. And, if she's on, she can be very good.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've talked about it, right? This game's full of moments. Canada's had a couple of theirs. We're just waiting for the U.S. to get theirs in this third period at some point.
And that's the question. Is the U.S., is it too late? Or is Canada, if they keep applying that pressure, are they going to have still energy in the tank? And if ever it goes to overtime, then it's another story. But it's very demanding for a player to play at high speed all the time and being like always your foot down at the pedal 100%, and like I didn't see much gliding from the Canadian team in the first and the second, and anything can happen. Again, there's a lot of time. Like sometimes teams can score in 2 goals within a minute, and if we've seen it. The U.S., they're capable of doing that. So I'm at the edge of my seat, and I'm really curious to see, how this spirit's gonna unfold.
Well, and I think, Madison, as the clock continues to inch down, you're going to see the desperation start to come more and more, right? And it's going to be, you can't get frustrated. And I know it's easier to say than do. You just can't get frustrated right now if you're the Americans once your desperation starts to hit in. Like, you can't take a stupid penalty or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they just have to find a way to get pucks to the inside seams, which is like, again, like the perimeter play just doesn't work. I think that they need to shorten their bench. I think that you go with some kind of blend. Abby Murphy's been quiet. I was going to say Murphy line, but I guess Heisey line. Murphy, in my opinion, has been a little quiet today. Like, maybe send Murphy out there to run into a couple people and shake things up. I don't know. Like, again, you don't want to get a penalty, but you want to like get the energy level up and get something going offensively. They need to generate offense in a impactful and meaningful way. Like, just throwing pucks at Debian at this point doesn't do any good. Throwing pucks to the front of the net that they're kicking out. Canada's doing a pretty good job of getting into lanes. So they need to get the puck moving, and the best way to do that is use some of those young players who have high hockey IQs, who see the ice really well. But they need to also find, I guess, a blend, right, of that veteran presence. I don't want to be overly critical, but like I'm a little bit surprised with the performance from Nider thus far. Very quiet. But they're still.
But she's the type of player who can be really quiet and just score a goal.
Yeah, the puck brushes the puck hits her pants, and it's over.
She's at the right place at the right time, but it's so true. Like, so many times it happened that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to give it to Canada here. Like, I don't think that there's a reason they're not sitting back, because the U.S. isn't really forcing anything for them to sit back on this either. And it's a different sense where, and so you look at it and say, okay, if U.S. was really bringing it to us and taking it to us here in the third period and peppering the goalie with shots, it might be where we're pinned on our own end, but we're not. So they're going to give us what we're taking, or we're going to take what they're giving us, and it's open ice and it's chances as well.
Yeah. I mean, I like we haven't seen all that much, like just that last sequence. The U.S. stayed quiet a long time in the O-zone. We haven't seen sustained offense from the U.S. And, if they can set up and, get that movement going, I think that is a step ahead than what we've seen. I've seen a little flash at the end of the first, a few flashes in the second, but, I feel in this third period, that's the most time the U.S. has done or has been in the O-zone, moving the puck. And now it's just a matter of like, okay, well, now we're in the zone. How can we get that puck through, and not just shooting the puck to shoot the puck, but, shooting with a purpose?
$11 minutes to go in the gold medal game between Canada and the U.S. Canada leading 1-0 on a Kristen O'Neill shorthanded goal early in the second period. And this game has been pretty even so far. The shot chart would suggest that U.S. out shooting Canada 25-23. But again, that might not tell the full story of this game, where the U.S., came out looking out of sorts a little bit, and Canada came out kind of feeling that this was the gold medal game. This was a game where they had to be at its best, and they definitely have proved that so far. Where we sit now, and as the clock inches down towards the end of this game.
Now, I will say I'm going to jump in here just with programming notes. So when the game wraps up, we'll do a very quick breakdown of the game. Our final reactions will wrap stuff up. I know that all of us are going to need to take a break. I know Madison's got some other responsibilities. heading onto TV, I believe. So when the game is done, we will quickly wrap things up. But stay tuned. Be sure to check back on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. We will have the final episode of Quest for Gold breaking down this whole game in a little more depth. And we'll have that posted probably about an hour and a half after the game wraps up. So thank you to everyone who's watched the stream so far. We hope you stick around with us here for the last 11, 12 minutes or so of regulation time.
Thank you, Jacob. Our producer, hitting the buttons, making sure that we look good, doing the graphics, does everything.
My uncle just texted me. What on earth is going on? I just caught the game on. Okay, well, okay, Bill.
Tell him to tune into the stream and just explain it to him right here.
They're losing because you couldn't take the time to watch the whole thing. What a mistake.
Yeah, we're under 10 minutes now.
This is such a lame, easy prediction. But if the U.S. scores to tie it, they're going to win.
Yeah.
Next goal wins.
You know
Like
what I mean?
it's yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Which is like great analyst work. But like, if the U.S. scores to tie it, they will get over that hump, and then it's like,
Yeah.
we're in a lot of situations. It's like, oh, they tied it, and then it's 50-50. I think if the U.S. ties, it's over. But guys, I'm a little nervous.
Well, also, like, how much of that is mindset, right? You've survived this long, and it's only 1-0. You get that. If they do, in fact, score a goal, then all bets are off. Then it's like, okay, well, that's it now. We're back at square one, and we think that we are better than this team. Like, how do we not win this hockey game? Whereas from Canada's perspective, it's, okay, we got 9:17 left. This is a final stretch for us, and we're gold medalists again. And everyone that doubted us, we got a lot of things that we can say to you after this game is over.
I think Canada loves each other more. Like, I think that that's such a true thing in team sport.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a cliche answer, but like, I think that everyone's like analysis of this tournament has been spot on thus far. Like, the Canadians have been absolute weapons. I mean, they're so talented. They're going to continue to be talented for the next 4, 8, 12, 16 years. You know, like they are, and like they have so much potential. But like, there's just like this team. Like, I mean, look at the, like, I know I'm a little behind, but the Canada is just playing. They're just playing structured hockey. They're playing as a team. Like it's just, I don't know. Lot to be
Well, I feel that they bought in. They bought in the plan, and they're really set on details, blocking shots, and like willing to do anything to win that gold medal, and especially of just like the desperation that they had. And it's like, okay, everybody expects us to lose. We've lost so many games, we know, but we're dedicated and we love the sport so much. I'm not saying that the U.S. doesn't love the sport, but I feel the U.S. were able to get away with it a bit more because they're more talented, and I think you said it earlier, Madison, like sometimes heart beats talent.
Yeah, and it's
art and leadership will outshine skill any day of the week in a game like this, right? Like in a 40-game season, no. In a 7-game series, no. But in one game where you have players whose careers, I mean, look at. I mean, O'Neill is an incredible story. I love that.
Yep.
New York Siren, like she's been an absolute spark plug for that team. I mean, she is in my opinion, having learned and read more about her, just like the consummate teammate. Scores a goal in the gold medal game of a team that she like. You know what I mean? Like it's just an incredible story. And so I think that you have so much of that in the fiber of this team on Canada, and you do on the U.S. as well, but I just don't know if it resonates with the players in the same way.
Have either of you been a part of a team like that where you know that you might not be as talented as the other group, but your camaraderie and your chemistry of what you have in that locker room and the belief that you have within each other, you can get the job done when no one else thinks you can?
Yeah. I think is what helps. Like I think it's a huge part of like shaping you as an athlete. Like it's a huge part of your story, and you learn a lot about anytime you play a different role, in my opinion. And so you can speak to this too, but anytime you play a different role, whether it's like the best player on the team or the very least amount of ice time, like it's why I appreciated when I was playing in the former league, the NWHL, I appreciated so much my wife's perspective as the head of the PA, but she's very self-deprecating, but she would always joke that she was like the worst player on the team she always played on. But like she was the best teammate. And so getting her perspective and then like bringing that to my two teams, like having everyone's perspective is so important because it shapes like it shapes fairness, it shapes equity, it shapes everything that's important about team and what you're buying into, however big your role is. And I mean, and so has been part of tons of teams like that.
Yeah, and like a lot of organization will try to seek to hire so like athletes because you don't get to experience that elsewhere. Like I feel like when you're in the sports, we're so privileged to be able to feel those moments and to be like unified and to work as a common goal. And yes, like in organization, you'll be able to have that, but it's I don't know, having had both, I feel it's just not to the same extent. Just how powerful it can be when you're a team and like you all work together. Like it's just I don't even have the words to express what it feels like, but it's just an amazing feeling, and I feel so privileged to have been part of teams like that, where it's like okay, we're against all odds and let's go, and it just brings you so much more energy and within each other you believe. It's just kind of crazy.
I think that the debate can happen among Canada and US a lot, and you go back to certain situations. I want to maybe get into your minds a little bit going into that locker room after that 40 minutes had gone. From a Canadian point of view, was it confidence? And from a US point of view, Madison, it's like because you hadn't been here yet, it's what do we need to do? And was there a little bit of panic, you think, after that 40 minutes?
I mean, again, I'm just being honest, and I don't want to be overly critical, but I really think it's a combination of leadership and coaching. Like I think that
Mhm.
if you're going to commit to going with a young team that I mean, like I have a lot of respect for Ellen Hughes and all of these people at the highest of levels that have put this team together. I think that it's been surgical and methodical, and I think that they've done a lot of work in building this team. But I think at the end of the day, um, like when you send a team to battle, you have to know that all they have to work with on that day is what's at their disposal on the bench and in the locker room. And how are we setting our team up best for success, right? Like they don't have access to sports psych in the locker room. They don't have access to all these other tools and resources they have access to away from the rink. And so it becomes a question of leadership and how do we get things back on track when they go off the rails? And you have a lot of time to make sure that you have proper leadership in place and you have things structured correctly. Like that's all it is at the end of the day, in my opinion. It's a question of leadership, and that's not questioning captains or anything like that. I mean, you can be a leader without being a captain. So I think that for the US, if you're not a captain, if you're someone on that team who prides himself in leadership, you need to step up. And even if you haven't played a minute, you can be a leader. But that's what I think that team is missing right now is some guidance.
Like Aaron Ambrose took a hit, might have been in the numbers, behind the net, still down on the ice getting looked at.
And if they're reviewing, it would mean that it's called as a 5, right? And then they
Yeah.
would review to see if they're going to drop it. But either way, Canada will be going to the power play.
I think that was hard. I think if she turned the other way, she wouldn't have gone in like that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Anso?
Yeah, it's tricky because she was going the other way and then she turned and it's like the hit it happened so
Yes.
fast, right?
Like it kind of looked like she was going to turn and roll out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
So just a 2-minute penalty. Downgraded to just a minor, but Canada off to the power play with 6:19 to go.
Are we going to see a shortened goal for the U.S.?
Who they putting out? That's kind of a bummer of a penalty because you have to call that. But like,
Yeah.
if she had continued turning, I don't think it would.
Yeah.
Like, she would have just rolled off of her back. You know.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll ever put the jailbreak rule at the IIHF level?
No.
You like
No.
that rule?
I don't mind it. I think it's like trying to get motivation from the PK,
More
try to
offense.
get a goal. Yeah. But I don't
You like
I
the
don't
no
feel that
escape rule?
yeah, I mean it's okay. Not necessarily like a fan or like in favor or against it, but um again, I think it's just to generate more. That's how your feet
Offense.
there.
Yeah, it's just to get more goals. They're trying to
just to
find
get
ways
more
to score
goals.
more goals. Yeah, because the
Yeah,
goal, like they get out the goalies are so much harder to score on.
yeah, exactly.
They should use lighter puck.
All right, under 5 to go. 33 seconds left on this power play as well. At what point do you pull your goalie? Well, I mean, obviously after the power play's over.
Well, not yet. It's 5 minutes left. Probably like 1:30-ish. If you have control, depending on the situation.
Yeah. I like to pull it at like 3 minutes.
3 minutes? A 1-0 game?
See, that's why I asked the question.
No, but because
no.
listen, no, like seriously. Because if you're gonna score, you're gonna score. So why not?
Yeah,
and if you're gonna get
well,
scored
I feel
on,
like
you're gonna get scored
if
on.
you're in the zone,
So, like-
getting control, like in
full
control, like
possession.
I feel it depends. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
If we
hear
have
you.
full possession, I pull. I need as soon as it hits 3 minutes, I look to pull the goal.
yeah. Okay, I follow that.
Yeah.
I mean, you need a goal now. If you're the U.S.
Yeah.
Do you think Snoop Dogg is still breathing in the stands? Hmm.
Whew.
They call that.
I don't know.
Yeah, 3 minutes to go now.
I will say, Canada has absolutely won the Benjamin. Like they're like playing their players in waves.
Yeah.
The old bones. How old is Malte and so?
I want to say like
29? 28?
yeah, like 28.
I should know that.
Emma Multe is 26.
She's 26, yeah.
26. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, they're not letting them. Oh, is that going to be the chance to pull the goalie?
I mean, at this point now, you look at it, and we talked about all bets being off and this, that, and the other, and X's and O's. you need a goal, and who's going to be your hero if you're the Americans? And you look at Canada, and it's okay. Well, this is it. We can be sore for weeks. We just got to give it the last 3 minutes here, and we're gold medalists yet again.
Yeah. And Canada's going to be willing to block shots and dive and do anything it
When was the last
takes.
time we saw Pooh on the ice?
She got clipped a little bit on the boards. Seemed like
Yeah, I haven't seen her out in a while. Have you guys seen her in a while?
No.
Well,
I'm gonna, if they have the ice
maybe
time sheet.
She.
couple
I don't
shifts
think she's
before
taken.
that she was on.
Yeah, she hasn't taken a shift in a while. She's still at 11:41 total ice time. And when I checked the ice times about 5 or 6 minutes ago, it was 11:46. She's only taken 16 shifts all game. So
Put her out for the last 3. Put the country on your back, baby.
But I mean, Stacey's line has been.
You said Stacey's line?
Yeah. They've done a good job so far. All right, there it is.
Yeah, you're final 2.5 to go. Hardest thing to do is to close out a game.
Irf is ahead, so I'm trying to see his face.
I'm not saying anything. I'm going to be stoic the whole time.
He knows what happened. They scored off the face-off. Something ridiculous.
Whoa!
And there it is.
Is it Layla Edwards?
The captain.
Is it Knighter?
Hillary Knight!
The captain,
Knight!
like you
Oh,
mentioned,
baby.
Hillary Knight in her last Olympic Games scores with under 2 minutes to, or just over 2 minutes to go to tie the gold medal game at 1 goal apiece. Wow.
And break the record. And break the record, by the way.
Yes, and break the record.
Oh my God. I told you, Packer?
Yeah. Well,
At least it didn't hit the pad. That was a nice deflection. She's so
off the
skilled.
stick of Layla Edwards.
Who took a lot of
Also,
stuff.
did you notice that Layla Edwards was at the blue line shooting the puck and was the lowest one in the pile? That's how fast she can skate, so she can definitely back check.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, I'm comfy now. It's game over.
So under 90 seconds to go. Gold medal game is
Get out
tied
my
at 1
Captain
goal
America
apiece.
shield for Niter. I'm gonna get it over there. I'll get it out in a minute. Save it for overtime.
That is incredible. What theater
And so I was nervous.
this has been.
I am. Aren't
So
you?
I didn't say. I saw it. And I was like, just look straight and don't give any sort of
Yeah.
reaction.
although Irf, you might have overdone it. I think they both saw your reaction.
But I
and
just,
knew-
I
guess
but I'm
Canada
always
could have put
smiley.
it.
I'm always
Canada-
smiley.
Canada could have put it into the empty net. Like you were straight
True.
faced. They knew a goal happened. They just didn't know for who.
Yeah, we need to get Irf one of those black boxes for the next period.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna watch. I'll watch the game based on your reactions.
Okay, so then we can have the long time debate. How BS is it if it survives through overtime that you can still? I don't think the Olympics should be determined in a shootout.
I agree.
I think
That's
it's
not who's the best
continuous.
team.
I think it's continuous
Not who's the best
OT.
team.
Yeah.
What-
I
No,
believe it
is
I
it?
is.
agree.
It is continuous OT. It is on the men's side, and I believe it's the same on the women's. It's going to be 3-on-3 continuous overtime.
Oh,
Oh,
they
it
changed
changed?
it?
Yeah, I'll double check that, but I do remember seeing it when I was looking before the game.
I think it should just be 5-on-5.
They probably doesn't want the game to go in 5 overtimes.
Yeah, gold medal game can no longer be decided by a shootout.
Well,
But
that's
again,
good.
I believe it is uniform for both the men's and women's tournament. The stuff I've pulled up hasn't specified one or the other, so you would hope it is the same for both. Because I agree, Madison, no one wants to see a gold medal decided in a shootout. Now, 4-on-4 overtime or even 5-on-5 would be better than 3-on-3, but at least it's not a shootout.
All right, as if the drama couldn't get any better. Canada and USA off to overtime to decide a gold medal winner at the Olympics in Milan. Canada had the lead for about 57 minutes and 48 seconds in this hockey game. And it took someone who Madison Packer said, I haven't seen any much out of her yet. One of the most decorated players for the Americans, breaks the goal scoring record. Hillary Knight, the captain of USA, tying the game to send this one to overtime. What a game. This is why we do this. It was fun. It's been fun.
Well, this third period was a bit more interesting. I mean, it was kind of a studying and more defensive play for Canada. I mean, their neutral zone was really good. The forecheck. I mean, I feel that they didn't allow the U.S. to break out all that much, and in that third period, the way that the U.S. started, that's the U.S. team that we saw a little more. They had more ozone time. They had more control, and I said anything can happen. It's one shot. So this is going to be very interesting. But as we said, like now Canada's down, U.S. has the momentum. So I would be curious to see the poll now, Jacob. Who's in favor now of winning?
We'll do another one quickly. We'll get one up here quickly and kind of see the way it goes. But I would tend to agree with both of you. I said that next goal, we really said that next goal wins in this hockey game. But now, okay, so you tie the game late, momentum on your side. The crowd that is there is absolutely feeling this one. They're into it now. And Madison, if you are any one of the members on that bench, what are you thinking?
Anything, everything to get it
Yeah.
done. Like you said, I think that the belief is rejuvenated. Like I said before, I don't know. I could be wrong. We'll find out shortly. But I think that once they got over that hump, they just needed to get over the hump. I was critical. I wanted to see more from Niter, but also at the same point, if there's any player on that roster that I was going to bet on, it also would have been her. So it's no surprise. I think the same thing is it's going to come down to now a battle of what we've already seen. So you're going to see a lot of veterans on the ice. You're going to see a whole lot of heart, 3-on-3 hockey, like lots of space, lots of time. I don't know. I'm still nervous.
Which
Did you say I'm
team?
so nervous?
Yeah.
Which team do you both think have the advantage 3-on-3? Like neither of these teams have played overtime yet in the tournament. Roster-wise, obviously you've played with a lot of these players. Who do you think has the better roster to survive 3-on-3 overtime?
Skill?
Well, I think with
U.S.
like the speed that they have, I think the U.S. is in favored. And just the way that Canada played, I feel their tank is lower. I mean, the U.S. technically played 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that probably the U.S., but just because I think they're quicker. But like, I mean, like it's the same debate we've been having all game. Like, do you want experience versus like skill and like it's 3-on-3, so it's tic-tac-toe, but also like if you get you get caught like outnumbered, and then it's just composure. So
Should also do
I was never picked
overtime.
for 3-on-3 because I wasn't a
Yeah.
good skater.
I was saying we should do some official overtime picks. All three of you give one Canadian, one American who scores the overtime winner.
Ooh. I'll defer. Madison?
Wait, is it 5-on-5?
I
5-on-5
believe it is.
overtime.
Is it 5-on-5? It was 3-on-3
Well,
for the bronze medal game earlier.
I think gold medal game is 5-on-5.
Okay.
3-on-3 for 20 minutes, no shootout. It'll be continuous.
Yeah, so it is
3-on-3
3-on-3.
continuous.
3-on-3 for 20 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
No shootout.
All right, sorry. Someone pinged me and said it's 5-on-5. Okay, what was the question again?
Overtime
what?
winner. One Canadian, one American.
Oh.
Who scores the winner?
Oh. Well, that's tough because if Poulin gets back on the ice, I'm taking Poulin. If not, I'm taking Stacy and Harvey.
Okay. So Stacy and Harvey. And so?
I'm going to go, obviously, with Poulin if she's on. She scored so many goals, game-winning goal at the Olympics. If not, well, we said Sarah Nurse needs to give more, so I'll pick her.
Okay.
For the U.S., I'll go with Taylor Heisey.
Okay. I will go Alex Carpenter and Sarah Fillier. And yeah, here we go. It is going to be a blast. 3-on-3 continuous, no shootouts.
Wow.
They've got a
This is
pretty
crazy.
cool shot of Hillary Knight's family on the U.S. broadcast when she tips the goal, and it's her siblings. She's got 3 brothers, so it's her mom, dad, 3 brothers, aunts, uncles, and everyone is just like dogpiling on top of each other in the stands, going ballistic. Her dad's like, "Oh my god!" It's funny. It's like a good 20 seconds of them all celebrating. I think a combination of scoring and breaking the record, but mostly scoring the goal. Like that, they're just like they're in. It's a cool shot.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see who both teams' coaching staffs decide to throw out for this in this 3-on-3. Like 20 minutes is a long time too. You can't just keep rolling your vets that you want to play and that are responsible and this, that, and the other. So if you're Canada, you look at it and say, okay, we got some vets that we want out here, but we also need to try and also score because this is going to end one way or the other.
Yeah.
There's no shootout here to try and save us. Yeah.
Like Renata Fast is a good skater. She's very fit. Kristen O'Neill also, like she could probably run 15 on the beep test, probably running backwards. Like honestly, so these are key elements. Like O'Neill had a great game so far. Poulin's injured, so a lot of ice to cover. So she's your best player, but considering now there are 3, I wonder what Troy is gonna do. And then is Ambrose going to be back? Was she back after that?
No,
when she ran into
didn't
the
see her come
boards?
back.
Not yet.
So like, Katie Tabin didn't play all that much, so she's probably not going to see. So then that means you're down to 4D. So.
I mean, luckily with 3-on-3, you only really need one out there. But yeah, to your point, it's the options are going to be limited. Yeah, if it goes 20 minutes, Canada's going to have very limited options to try and keep up.
Madison, I feel like you have to go with speed. Like you have the experience, but speed kills. Like you got to go with your young guns here.
Yeah, I mean, I think and that's where like Carpenter is a good mix of both, right? But I mean, offensive zone face-off, I'd throw Knight out there, but otherwise Harvey, Bilka, Heisey, Curl, 50-50 maybe, but like yeah, Murphy. I mean, these they have everything. I agree with you. I would lean more towards speed, generate opportunity, use your goalie if and when you need to get changes and catch teams tired. I mean, that's a tactic that we've seen deployed. Pull your goalie up a little bit, get a team trapped so that they can't make a change.
How good are both goalies at being puck handlers? We've seen, different overtimes where, the puck is played back to the goalie in order to be that extra forward or at least calm things down a little bit as well.
Yeah, to get control, and especially on the change, like I think like 3-on-3 is puck possession is key. Like you have to be smart and attack. Like you can't just throw the puck to throw the puck. Like it has to be a good scoring chance. And I think that's going to be puck management is going to be key, especially like on those changes. And yeah, they're good assets. Both these are great at playing the puck, as you said. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I think I've probably seen Anne Renee play the puck more, but I think they're both good puck players. So I think it's going to be a speed battle. I agree with you.
It's interesting. I just saw the replay of the goal again. It's two players that we talked about for different reasons. You had a player that was a lazy it was a lazy play on the back check. Wasn't able to get back in time. Canada ends up scoring in Layla Edwards. And then you have someone who was quiet the whole game in Hilary Knight, both combined, and her names are on the score sheet now and tying this gold medal game and sending it to overtime. It's just interesting how things go. You knew Hilary Knight was going to leave her mark on the game at some point. You just didn't know when. Right? Moments.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it a million times, and but you can't overstate it or understate it enough. It's interesting and like, I don't know, maybe special or distracting that both of these players have existed parallel to one another through their careers. But like a Poulin and a Knight are generational players. They're gifts. The way that they play the game, the way they see the ice, everything they bring, they have unique and different skill sets, obviously different personalities and leadership styles, etc. But I think that they both are going to go down in history as some of the best, regardless of gender, to play the game. So it's been fun to watch them battle it out, both from a young age on the international level, and actually my freshman year, Hilary's junior year, Poulin's freshman year, we all played against each other for the national championship when she was at BU. She like single-handedly carried that team as well. I think we outshot them like 42-8. It was like a 1-goal game. But she's just, Poulin is a special player. Nighter is a special player. So to see it all come down to this, in the moment, someone's going to be upset, right, and disappointed. But they've both broken records. They've both pushed the limit of human capacity beyond what anyone thought was believable. And I think that at the end of the day, they both have a lot to be proud of. So,
well said.
This is the second time a golden goal will be scored in women's hockey at the Olympics. Marie-Philip Poulin has the only other one in that comeback for Canada in 2014 in Sochi. So yeah, I mean, this game has been incredible. This tournament's been awesome so far, but to get to the gold medal game and have the drama and the edge of your seat having to sit here and be stressed about it is going to be fun this next 20 minutes at some point. It's a full intermission. Obviously, they're cleaning the ice, so we get a full intermission in between before we get started here for real.
We should also mention that the bronze medal game earlier was decided in overtime as well. Switzerland beat Sweden 2-1 in overtime, so the same score that we'll get for the gold medal game. I'm pulling it up.
Mueller, baby.
Yeah.
Mueller.
Mueller scored, and I think it was nine minutes into overtime, so obviously didn't take the full 20, but we're used to seeing 5 minutes of 3-on-3. We've seen, I think in the preliminary rounds, it was 5 minutes, and the knockout rounds, if it had gone there, would have been 10 minutes. I am very curious to see how the teams handle overtime, and if we see the game end like in 30 seconds off the first opening face-off and team goes down and scores, or are we going to see like 10 minutes of a chess match between two teams that don't want to make the mistake that cost them a gold medal? Shouldn't be too much longer now before the overtime starts. As Irf mentioned, they are cleaning the ice. It'll be fresh ice for 3-on-3 too, which is also interesting because normally you don't see that. You have chewed up ice after the third period, right? So that might change things as well. For those, I was a goalie. It doesn't really matter to me when I played hockey if the ice was fresh or not, but I'm sure for you skaters, it makes a pretty big difference.
Just nicer.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much of a difference does it make? It's just nicer.
Yeah, pucks bounce better. Passes are flat.
The puck gets sometimes when there's too much ice, too much water, the puck gets stuck. But
That is true.
no,
Bad
yeah.
Zamboni guy.
I'm sure they have a better, or they'll have some times where, fresh ice, where it's clean and
What's
see,
the
like
worst?
the Zamboni's done now.
What's the worst barn you've played in? Like just everything about it wasn't good.
Oh my God.
The worst?
For me, it was at a rink in Boston. I don't remember where or what the name of the rink was, but we had to go to the bathroom like in the lobby where everybody was. Like Emran Smashmeyer had skate guards, like going to the bathroom between the first and the second, going through like
The concourse of people? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, are you kidding me? So and it was so cold. Like I remember the Boston team was like wearing their neck guards because it was not their neck guards. They're like a turtleneck or whatever, like something that makes you not a scarf, but
Yeah.
these things that make you warm. I was like, it's freezing in here. So that definitely was the worst one.
Madison, what was yours?
I don't know. I have two stories. The worst rink story I ever have was from that rink in Montreal. And so when we played your team, the first game of the Forces season in Montreal, and you guys remember when you shot the puck out and it like went behind our bench and hit that woman in the face? But there was no glass behind.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You're done.
This puck hit this woman in the face, and I heard it. Like, and it was just like, and like her boyfriend was like, "Oh no," and she was like, "I got the puck." This woman, her like, like it was horrible. You could literally hear it, and I'm like, but while we were warming up, I was like, "Is no one concerned about the fact that there's no glass behind our benches?" And all of the French people were like, "No, all the rinks are like this." Like someone's gonna get injured, and then sure enough, that woman got hit in the face. But the worst rink I've ever played in, by far and away, no offense, Colton Orr, the Danbury rink in Danbury, Connecticut. It's freezing cold. I actually had to get off the ice during the second period of a professional game and refused to go back out because it was so cold.
Really?
I want to get back to that. I want to hear that at the end, but we just started overtime. Poulin and Carpenter. Poulin and Carpenter were the two that took the opening draw. Renata Fast on the ice as well.
Who's out with Carp?
Would be
Ilka?
Yeah. Well, Carp just went off for a change. That was quick. It was a 20-second shift.
Keller and Point?
mean, no commentary during this.
I know. I was just like, I will just watch.
Yeah, I think Irf and I don't want to spoil anything. We'll keep
I'm gonna
quiet.
stay quiet.
I can't look at Irf's face.
Me too. I'm just watching my
There's a
screen
lot-
there.
you know, you're not the only
Yeah, you
person that
gotta
said that. Don't worry. I haven't heard that before.
Face for radio.
Yeah.
Ooh. Somebody blew a tire there.
Yeah, the pace of this one is it's flying out there right now early.
Oh yeah. It's because of the fresh ice.
That's what just about to say. It's the fresh ice.
And yes, apologies to everyone watching. We are very quiet right now. We want to talk.
sorry.
It's but
Why? Who's saying
The
we're
te-
quiet?
yeah, no one's
We're only
complaining.
apologizing for Irf's face.
I haven't done anything yet.
And so, do you think that they'll keep doing the rivalry series as much as they do now with the P-Dub?
No. I mean, they can't because, like, think about everybody else who's not part of the rivalry series. And one of the reasons why it was set up is because they didn't have any professional games really for,
Yeah.
like, so now that the league
yeah.
is there, they have to prioritize the league and stop that. So I think now they changed the dates for the World Championship. They put it in November.
Yeah. And I
So-
think once they start selling teams, like you'll see like the same as the men's, like they're not once teams are individually owned, like owners
Yeah,
aren't going to
yeah.
be like, right, because you're asset at that point. They're not gonna be like, well, yeah, go get hurt. Da, da, da.
Exactly.
Like-
yeah.
You think we'll see more of the stadium takeovers then, with different teams going to travel and play in different cities?
Yeah, and or
Well,
I
no.
think well they're going to add teams next year
Yeah.
probably.
Oh,
And then you're gonna but I think that I would assume that they'll continue to follow that model, and then like all of these players will keep playing against each other and not doing the series like the rivalry series.
I think the takeover tour is more to set up or to find where's the best location for. So I think once they're gonna have their, I don't know, I think they want to go to 12 teams, whether it's next year or in 2 years, because they're expanding 2 to 4 teams. But I think it's not gonna be as much present.
I think they'll still do a little bit of it because it's easier than like some markets just aren't sustainable. But like
Yeah.
one-offs are, but like take like Madison Square Garden for example. They're gonna play
Yeah.
the one game there this year, but like MSG is so expensive.
Mhm.
Like it's cost prohibitive to play in arenas like that until like you can justify charging enough for a ticket or like right like it's like marketing and sponsorship revenue is higher. But
but I think like they won't have like a something close, but they're not gonna have like say they might have still a game at the Bell Center here in Montreal, but they're not gonna have games in like I don't know, like far just to like see if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
gonna.
I'll be interesting to see what happens with Detroit because, like, I think that Detroit has proved itself a valuable market.
Shit. Holy cow!
Megan Keller
Wow!
with the overtime goal to give the United States of America the gold medal at the 2026 Winter Olympic Games in Milan, dethroning the Canadians of the reigning gold medal holders and now becoming champions of their own. The USA are gold medal winners.
Holy cow! Megan Keller, what a player! She's had such an amazing season so far. Like, and she's just, oh my god! Look at the relief that the coaches.
Look at Robo.
Did you see his eyes?
That's a man relieved right there. Woo! Bullet dodge.
Oh my god! I want to see the replay. I feel like I didn't see that happening.
It was
like, like a broken breakaway almost, like right.
Kind
It
of a
was
turnover
like
there a little bit. Pickpocketed the defense woman and was able to get it in and squeak that one through. And Renee Debian, beautiful goal. Megan Keller, a name that we talked about a lot early in this tournament for the United States, coming through in a massive, massive way. 8 straight victories now for the United States against Canada, but the only one really anyone's really going to talk about is the most important one because they're about to wear gold, about to get gold medals around their necks as Olympic champions.
Well, and it's a veteran that gets it done, right? Like, not that the rookies didn't play a huge part in what happened there, but you saw Knight, Carpenter, Coyne, like Keller out on the penalty kill or out on the 3-on-3. Like, it's just I'm watching obviously the US broadcast of all these kids hugging each other, but it's just for women, I should say. It's just cool to see. Like it is a really good blend of like next gen, now gen, like all these players. Yeah, it's kind of a broken nice move.
Wow, what a move though, eh? On Thompson?
On D.
Holy. Oh wow. I thought it went 5-0, but it went under the chicken wing.
Yeah. Went through her.
Oh.
Not gonna be happy about that. She had it twice.
They just showed a shot. I mean, you've probably already seen it of
what,
USA head coach.
That's 2 good teams right there. Like that's good on Canada. I mean, what a game that they put together, right? I mean, that's obviously a group of disappointed athletes, but when you think about strictly on paper, when you look at what you went to battle with, like they had way more to work with from a skill standpoint. Your captain goes down early. I mean, Poulin did not play much of that game down the stretch. Like hats off to that group. They gave the fans a heck of a game. Like what a moment, amazing display of talent and skill. All things PWHL for women's hockey. Like that's the kind of game that you wanted to see down the stretch, right? Like that's the absolute best thing for the game. Obviously only one team gets to finish happy and excited, but you always think about it, you lose a gold medal, you don't win a silver, and then in almost every other sport that's individual, like you win a silver medal. So tough for those players, but like that was the best game of the whole tournament.
Yeah, I didn't expect Canada to show up that great, honestly. And, at the beginning we said they needed to play 60 minutes, and that third period, was in favor of the US, and that's 2 minutes. They played 58 minutes pretty much. In that third period, I think the US had a greater sense of desperation, and again, they had momentum. We all agreed whoever scores the next goal will win the game, and that's exactly what happened. They had the momentum and they were flying, so it was a great battle. I'm happy it wasn't a blowout. You know, like if we compare to all the other past games, they were all, you know, 4 goals apart. Now this is a 1-goal game for 58 minutes, and then 2-0, 2-1. I mean,
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, look, there are tears of joy and happiness for the Americans. Obviously, are gold medal winners now. Canada doing everything it possibly could to try and get that gold medal. Just came up just short. We'll leave Milan, you know, with silver. Obviously, an achievement in its own. But for Hilary Knight, the captain of the American team, now the most prolific scorer in U.S. women's Olympic history, gets to send off her career. Madison, I'm going to ask you this later, but sends off her career and says farewell to the Olympics with a gold medal.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you could write a perfect ending, that's probably it. She spent her entire life dedicating it to the game of hockey. She's spent a lot of time underpaid, undervalued, probably in her own opinion. And so for the game to finally reach its pinnacle, and for her to get to close out her final days on a stage that I think she's deserving of alongside her counterparts. I mean, all those athletes have built a stage for the game that they deserve and that they didn't have at the beginning of their careers. So for them, it's nice to see. For her, you know, I know it's been a long and tumultuous journey from a personal standpoint and from a career standpoint. So happy for her. And I know for a fact that's exactly how she wanted it to go. So I'm happy for her.
One final one for you, Ann. So when you look at it, you know, at this tournament, we didn't really know what to expect from Canada. There was question marks surrounding roster selection, question marks surrounding, you know, who was on this team and who shouldn't be. You know, they go to the overtime in the gold medal game, in a game that we thought was going to be a blowout. And you have to tip your cap to Canada, but you're going to see some changes, obviously, as we go here in the women's game for Hockey Canada and for them in the future.
yeah, for sure. I mean, they almost prove everybody wrong. You know, we were at the edge of our seat, and if they had won this game, the speech would be so different and be like, okay, well, they were right, and, you know, they proved us wrong. And but really, like, hats off to this group. They, you know, they're, I think, the oldest team, and they never gave up, and that's what I like to see from them. And, you know, they were unified. They did everything they could, and I think they played their best game. Unfortunately, as I said, like, the third period wasn't the best, but if they had carried this second and the first and the second period into the third, I think they would have been able to win. And luckily, there's still a few youth for Canada, not as much as the U.S., but I feel we're going to see a big rotation here in this next 4-year cycle, and hoping that the PWHL will allow, you know, people to see this showcase talent. And, you know, when we look at all these Americans they're going to be in the PWHL, so they're going to be playing best on best. So it's going to be very interesting to see over the next couple of years how this new form of Team Canada will bring to the U.S. to the next Olympics against probably a similar team that the U.S. has been. And then now nobody will be able to say, well, they don't have the experience. They've just witnessed probably one of their most important game of their lives.
The United States gold medal winners at the Olympics in Milan, Italy, taking the game by a score of 2-1 over Canada in overtime. Thanks to everyone that joined us on the stream for this. We really appreciate it. Obviously, huge shout out to Madison Packer and Ann-Sophie Bettez, who have been here throughout the entire run on Quest for Gold. Make sure you tune in. We're going to have one more episode of Quest for Gold as we put a final bow on the women's Olympic game, or women's Olympic hockey in Milan, after USA is now Olympic champions.